Rebecca.
Mel.
Hi.
Hi, how you doing?
I'm good. I think I'm probably better than you because we got pounded with snow and then it got warm and it's all gone within like 12 hours.
Oh, we're okay. We just have some wind. So I have a backup plan in the off chance my internet or power goes out. I do have my phone that's been charging all day, so I could always just rejoin via
Okay.
phone. So maybe you should text me the link just in case. Because I
Okay.
don't know if I had
I
a
will
link on
do
my
that.
phone. Anyway, no. So the South Shore in Boston is getting
Mm,
fucking
hammered.
hammered.
Yeah.
Like they have it's Jim Cantori won't go outside. He's trapped in a restaurant. And there's
Oh
this
my God.
video of like Plymouth and it looks like a snow tornado. I've never
Yeah.
seen anything like it. And I have been living in New England since the early 90s. So yeah,
Yeah.
we're just getting kissed by the blizzard up here. We're probably gonna get like 6-ish inches and we have some wind, but it's not like they have it there. Providence has like 40 inches of snow or some bullshit. It's
Yeah.
wild.
We
Wild.
got 4 or 5 inches and the entire place is shut down here.
Mm.
So,
Well,
and
you
it's
guys don't
gone
have
like,
infrastructure to support that, you know?
no, I know, but it's
No one
already
has
like
all-wheel
40.
drive cars, it's not like
I,
here.
I know. It's like 40 something degrees and it all melted already. So
Lucky you.
kind of awesome. I
I'm
love it.
going away in 4 weeks with friends
Mm.
to Grand Cayman, and I have to say I just went to St. Martin a couple weeks ago with Kevin, and this is like our friends trip that we do every 2 years, and normally I'm like, "Whatever, it's nice to get." I cannot wait. I am like I'm not, like, done with winter, like, I really like winter,
Mhm.
but I am starting to understand the impulse that these snowbirds have to be like,
Yeah.
"Screw this place. I'm
Yeah.
going to North Carolina for 6 months." I totally get it.
My
Oh, yeah.
philosophy
Amy,
is
I just
what?
sent you an envelope today, and every time I see your address in Salisbury, I am very jealous. Our friends have a beach place on Salisbury, and I
Mm.
love it there. I love it.
Amy posted a picture on her Facebook a couple days ago that was, like, of the sunrise, and it was stunning.
Yeah.
So beautiful.
Salisbury.
Um, should we get into it?
Yes. Should we introduce ourselves since we didn't do
Oh, yeah,
that?
sure.
My
Oh,
fault.
yeah. I'm Mel Barrett,
I'm Rebecca Lavoie.
and welcome to Something's Off, a true crime podcast where we just basically ask ourselves every day what the actual F is happening with these cases and these people. Why are
These
we doing this?
people. These
These
people.
people. These people. And there's a lot. I mean, what I found this week, normally there are a lot of really big stories, but I'm finding these little trickles, these little like
Disclosures.
drops. Yeah, there's
Yeah.
so much going on that we have to talk about. There's a bunch of Karen Reed stuff, but there's also like a bunch of other stuff going on. Oh, and also I wanted to mention this for anyone in the chat. And this is gonna be news to you too, Rebecca. But I reached out to Melanie Little via her, email on her channel to ask if she would come on our show to talk to us about the Foss case, the Georgia versus Foss. So if anybody in the chat is a Melanie Little fan, drop a little note in the comments the next time you're on her live and say that we want her to come on and we love her and respect her and would like to get to know her and talk to her about the Foss case. So
Yeah.
yeah, I just wanted to let you know that I reached out to her and
You just
hopefully,
booking behind my back. That's all right.
we don't have a booker. What are we gonna do? Speaking of not having the resources, no, we're doing all right. We hit 4,000
I can't believe
after
it.
our last stream that night. We hit
Unbelievable.
4,000
Let's go for
subscribers.
5. How long do you think it'll
Oh
take
yeah.
for us to get to 5?
Well, it seems like we're
You're
doing
frozen,
about
by
a
the way. You are
oh,
intermittently
Jesus.
freezing, just FYI. We
I
know.
don't know why that's
Should
happening.
I should hold up a sign that says, "Yes, I know Mel is frozen"? Let me see if I have a pad.
It's been
So
happening the past 2 streams that we've been doing, and I can't tell if it's my internet, which is usually pretty strong, or if it's StreamYard, but you're not freezing, so.
no, I'm not. And I would be the one because I live in the country.
Oh, Journeys of Peace said that she's interviewing Foss attorney right now.
Oh, very cool.
Interesting.
Very cool.
Yeah, but so, it's just me and Rebecca. We're doing these things. Although we did get a lovely email from someone asking to be Ruby's intern
Oh.
the past few days. And it was such a great email, and they're like overly qualified and amazing. And I can't believe that somebody would offer to do that for us. But we don't really, I and Rebecca do not feel like we're capable of asking for someone for that much work and not being able to pay them.
That's right.
So, I
It's
mean,
all
I would
right.
love, no, I know, I would love to be able to pay somebody to help us because there's a lot that goes into this that Rebecca and I do on our own. And we also have other shows that we do. So having somebody help us with audience engagement and helping with research and things like that would be amazing. But until we get more memberships and, more ad revenue and that kind of stuff, we won't be able to hire anybody.
Yeah, I feel really, like, except with some exceptions, when people offer to do like that wonderful person who's doing our chapters, oh my god. I mean,
Amanda,
she says
she's right
she's
here.
watching it anyway, and she's already making notes of it anyway, so whatever,
Yeah.
and I just feel bad, but, like, I feel pretty strongly about not asking people to do free work.
Mhm.
So and what this woman offered to do was pretty
Hefty.
laborious.
Yeah, I'm gonna meet with her, I think, though. She actually lives in my town.
Cool. Oh,
So I think we'll probably go have coffee and
in Walla
chat.
Walla, Maryland?
Walla Walla. Bethesda, actually.
Bethesda.
Used to
So
be.
fancy.
Bethesda.
Very
So fancy.
fancy.
But so anyway, we really appreciate you all and anybody that's reached out to us, to offer help. Honestly, it just means so much to us. But both of us feel like we can't accept a lot of help yet until we can pay people, which
Yes.
I think we will get to a place where we can. So, just
Yes,
keep
Mel is
help.
frozen. I know. I know. I
Oh,
know.
Jesus Christ. Really?
I really wanna just have a sign so I can not interrupt you every time you're frozen. I
I
feel
think
like I
it's
wanna
when I
grab the
go to a
pad.
different tab.
Yeah, that's what people are saying. They're saying when you open a different tab, that's a known thing.
Okay, I'm not gonna touch my tabs right now.
Okay,
But I
good.
was
Don't
looking
touch
at
your
my
tabs right now.
notes.
Yeah.
I wonder if I can do it like partial screen.
Open up a separate tab. I mean, drag out the tab
Yeah.
with the notes in it so that it's not on the
Yes.
same
You're
thing.
so tech savvy.
Oh, that's why I'm using an iPad, yes, because 'cause I'm so tech savvy. I'm like,
You're so tech savvy.
speaking of tech savvy,
Yes.
I stuffed like
Oh, yes.
150 envelopes this morning with sets of
Mhm.
stickers and addressed them and mailed them. So we're all caught up on the list for
Nice.
stickers. But did during that time, yes, Lord love me and help me. I did watch/listen to all 4 hours of
Oh,
Aidan Carney's stream from last night.
no.
I was
Yeah,
curious. I
I
I
know.
had I had curiosity because I saw people talking about it, and I'm like, "I'm curious." And, turtle curious. Uh, and I'll just start one more time because it's true.
Yes.
Aiden has said some things this week that have really super offended me about,
Mhm.
especially in the wake of the Rhode Island shooting about trans people, and of course,
Yes.
he uses the R word a lot and all that stuff. Had that being said, he's a good broadcaster. Not a lot of people could pull off keeping somebody like me engaged for 4 hours. So I was engaged for 4 hours, and man, it is messy. It is
Yeah,
messy out there.
I find that whenever I listen to his streams, after a while, I'm like, "Oh my god, why are we yelling so much? Why is there so much yelling?"
I
You
find it
know?
I find it that's just his inflection, man.
I
And,
know.
I like when he goes to spaces and then all of a sudden takes calls. It feels like very old school
Mhm.
FM talk radio or AM
Yes.
talk radio. And,
Yes.
actually, his whole show is sorta like that old school AM talk radio vibe that is, like,
Mhm.
eminently listenable. So if you want later in the show, I can give you the thumbnail of that drama as I am, receiving it, but it is interesting. I mean, is it interesting and is it important? No. Is it interesting? Mhm.
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 Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, sure is.
Mhm.
Speaking of old school radio call-in shows, did you hear that, a one Mr. John Barron called into C-SPAN to complain
It
about
wasn't him.
the
C-SPAN has
I
confirmed it
know.
wasn't him. Yes.
No, I know. But, like, how hilarious I mean, it really sounded like him. I mean,
That's a
somebody
deep cut
was
joke. That's a deep cut joke too,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
So this
Yep.
was C-SPAN's was it Washington Journal or whatever they have, the people
Yeah.
call in,
Yep.
and somebody called in claiming to be John Barron and sounded like Donald Trump, and Donald Trump used to make phone calls pretending to be a guy named John Barron to people he wanted to
And
complain
many
about
other
coverage of
names. Yeah.
himself.
Yep.
Uh, so, and that's like a well-known true thing. So
Yeah.
that was a deep cut joke. Deep cut.
Yeah, that was, very interesting, and I think a lot of people freaked out because 'cause they're like, "What the hell is going on here?" Um, oh, you know what I wanted to ask? Well, you gave the update on the stickers, so you give the update? Or did I
Yes,
miss it when I
I'm
was
all
dealing with the
caught up.
freezing?
They're all in the mail.
Okay.
So some of you, by the way, may be getting 2 envelopes because I think a couple of you may have put your name on the form twice. and I clocked it. I was like, I think I already did this one. Fuck it. I'm doing it again. So if you get an extra set of stickers in the mail, give them to a friend. But also, when I got to the end, I ran out of our return address labels. I ordered like 250 of them originally, or 300.
Oh,
I just ordered more today. So there's some that don't have return addresses on them, which I did not
okay.
feel like writing that on like 35 or whatever envelopes it was.
Mhm.
But yeah, so I'm excited for all of you, and I look forward to seeing your stickers in the wild. And Mel, I will send you some special edition heart stickers this week too.
Yeah, I'm really excited about those stickers actually. I'm not one of those people that puts stickers on my laptop, but I do put them on my water bottles, so I'm probably gonna put them all over my water bottles.
I'll allow it.
I'll allow it. You're hot.
You're
Hey,
hot.
Karen, you're hot. I love that
What a
makes you
great
giggle every
flirt
time I say it.
that Brian Higgins is, huh?
What'd you say?
He's a great flirt, that Brian Higgins.
Oh,
So good
geez.
at it.
Listen, we're gonna get into this in a little bit, but I was going through the document dump that Corri posted, and I mean, it's just like it's basically like going through the Epstein Files, and I was going through the text between John and Brian Higgins, John O'Keefe,
Those two,
Brian Higgins.
man.
Man, I was like, "Fuck
Homophobic.
you guys!"
Yeah.
Like gay guys, lesbians, like they had to like these whores. I'm kicking these whores out, and I was just like, I don't want to disparage anybody who has been murdered, but I don't think John was as good of a guy as everyone said he was.
None of these people are like, I don't think that we would be friends with any of them. And not
No.
because they're difficult or whatever, but because I think that there's a locker room sensibility in this whole
Yeah.
group, including the women,
Yes.
including
I was
Jen
just about
McCabe,
to say that.
including,
Yep.
it's just sort of like this, it's a lot of pick me type women
Mhm. Yep.
who say really misogynistic things
Yep.
just to sort of like be one of the guys. I just, when women say I don't have a lot of women friends, that is a fucking red flag.
Mm. Mhm.
It just
I
is. It
mean,
just, I
I
mean, some
actually
people have a
used to say
small
that.
group. I used to say it too when I was younger, and I was
Yeah.
completely fucking wrong because that is disparaging of your
Yeah.
gender in a way that I don't think you understand when you're the kind of person who says
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
I think you need to do some, if you find yourself saying that frequently, perhaps it's a you thing and not an other women thing.
Yeah, and I find that, like, within this whole group, including, the Coven and everybody else, all of the anti, FKR people, one of the first things they do to, like, try to bully you is they call you gay.
Right.
Like, that's their go-to. Like, it's happened with me several times so far with the Coven whenever they're like, "Rebecca," and whoever that lesbian is, it's like that's their like 90s bully mentality
Oh yeah.
MO. The first thing they do is like, "Oh, you're so gay, dude. You're so queer." But and it's just like, you guys never got out of high school, did you?
And we just bully them by pointing out that they are really bad at broadcasting.
Yeah.
Bad at
And
broadcasting.
also and
And they
also
lie.
just like, when did they become like the hall monitors like for copyright and it's ludicrous. It's
Mm.
ludicrous the way that they're acting. We'll get into it in a minute. There's something that is sort of happening right now. I haven't completely verified it that it's actually happening, or if this is just sort of like drumming up, you know, social media press before it happens, or if I don't even know if it's going to happen, but we'll get
From
into
the
it in a minute.
forehead?
From the forehead, I think I like to call them foreskins.
Mm.
Um,
The
the
forebearers?
force I mean, actually I like to call them the coven. Although that's kind of offensive to witches, so and
Hmm.
I was definitely a witch in the 90s. I definitely had I
I
definitely had a
I
book of
can see
shadows.
that. I can see
Yeah.
that. I can see you saying, "Let's meet in the graveyard.
Oh, yeah.
Let's." I 100% can see it. I can see you like hanging out and like talking about like the herbs and like.
Yeah, for sure.
I was
I had a
friends
book of
with a witch in the
shadows.
'90s, and I can 100% see you being good friends with her. And she's still a witch, by the way. I'm friends with her on Facebook, and I've been amazed to see her continuing on in
I
that,
didn't
'90s
I
witch
wasn't a very
persona.
yeah, I wasn't a very good witch. I just wanted to be like Faurizia Balk from The
Oh,
Craft.
who didn't?
Yeah. So,
The
anyway.
Craft is great.
Um,
We've talked about
what
that
are the
before.
things that we need to cover in housekeeping? Oh, join the Facebook group. It's actually
Mhm.
going pretty well. There's like 750 members, which I think is pretty awesome. Really good conversations going on in there, really good debates. Excuse me. And the Facebook group is Something's Off with Mel Barrett and Rebecca Lavoie. It's a private group, so you have to ask to join. So don't be assholes, and we'll let you in. Also, it's helpful if you have a profile picture, because when someone tries to join and they don't have a profile picture, I automatically assume they're bots. So I delete it.
Is there a question they have to answer, like with text? Because they can explain why they don't have a profile picture there, maybe.
I think so, but it's been, I have to look at it. I set it up like when we first started the show many, many years ago, 4 months ago. And so I have to look at it, but it's not a difficult process to get into the club, but it's like, just have a profile pic.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
What else? Oh, I launched a new show, which we've been talking about. It's called Newslight. It's kind of a riff on Abby Phillips' CNN News Night on when she has the panel discussions and everybody just screams at each other. But so we're going to do Wednesdays at 7 p.m. I think Rebecca's going to come on at some point. I have a pretty good guest list so far, but keep in mind, eventually I want to talk to people who disagree with me. Right now, to build the show, we're just talking about politics, and mostly it's people that I know who more than likely have the same opinions in some cases or are on the same side. Not that I want there to be sides anymore, but I did find that the last show that we did, which was with Maggie Freeling, Ellen Marsh, and Thomas the Union Plumber, I found that Ellen and I ended up being on the same side on a couple of issues, and Maggie and Thomas were on the same side, because they're like, Ellen and I are older liberals and they're younger progressives.
They're angrier.
And so, yeah, they're much angrier, and they're more, what's the word I'm looking for?
Cynical?
No, actively like anarchist, basically.
Oh yeah. So I gotta say, since I have this son who's sort of like in that vein, I've become more like that in my thinking, because I spend so much time with somebody who's just like, fuck all of them. And I'm like, yeah, fuck all of them. Why not?
Yeah.
They all suck.
Yeah. So that show launched. It's doing all right. It's a little baby show, but it's doing all right. And we're going to air again on Wednesday. We'll do every Wednesday at 7 p.m. And this Wednesday, I'm going to be watching that State of the Union, so you don't have to.
Oh, well, so basically, like, that show is a place to have all the conversations that you keep trying to have with me on here. And I'm just like, I can't talk about that. Or people in the comments complain about it a lot. So
that's what it's for.
Really smart to open up a brand new channel for that. I think that that's really good to expand your brand in that way. I'm very proud of you.
Well, I know it's kind of crazy thank you very much. I know it's crazy to sit down and talk about politics for a couple of hours in 2026, but I feel like if I don't, I'm going to explode. So here we are. The other update I have is that, and I'm starting to get nervous about this, and I don't know why, but the Nightline episode that I did for the Pamela Smart case is supposed to come out this Thursday on Nightline.
Ooh, I can't wait.
I don't know. I mean, you know how it goes. Like, I talked to the producer and she's like, yep, it's supposed to launch on Thursday, the 25th, I think, or 26th. She's like, but you know how it goes. It might get pushed. I have no idea. Hopefully it comes out on the 26th. So
yeah,
I'm not going to have a watch party or anything in case they do me dirty.
Yeah. That's probably smart.
And also because I'm wearing that mustard yellow cardigan.
I can't wait to see that. I'm taping Nightline this Thursday. By the way, Tiffany, thank you for becoming a member. Make sure to go to our YouTube homepage and click on the form link and give me your address so I can send you some stickers.
Yeah. So anyway, Thursday, you can watch this Nightline. I'll put a link to it in the show notes, but I'm
going to tape it right now. I got to go to my Comcast app.
I think I think you watch it through Hulu.
Oh, I know, but I can just get it live off the TV on my Comcast app.
Oh, okay. You're so fancy.
I'm not a cord cutter. I have to have I have everything. We have the cord and everything else. We have everything. It's really sad.
Amanda, who is our I want to say a public thank you to Amanda, Super Planner Girl Amanda. Amanda does our time code breakdowns for our descriptions for our show notes. And she's amazing, and it helps everybody so much, because if I do get in some politics and people don't want to hear it, they can skip ahead to talk about the crime. But let me bring Ruby up so that we can say hello.
Do you know that Nightline started in 1980? It's been on
forever.
So Thursday, February 26th. Let me open that.
Record. Say hi to the people, Rubes. Say hi to the people, Rubes.
Record. Just this
Yeah,
episode.
just want to say really a huge thank you to Amanda and Luna and Watson apparently. But yeah, Ruby needs help. She's so sleepy because she works so hard. That's why we've been getting intern offers because
Yeah.
Ruby is she's taxed.
Briscoe's sleeping outside this room right now. He doesn't want to come in because he's an asshole.
Oh, buddy.
Yeah. Also, because I have too many pillows here for him to climb up on the thing with me.
How's Stewart doing?
Stewart is old as hell. Can you take that big thing off the screen so I can see your face? I don't want to double click and have us click it at the same time. Yeah. Super planner. Thank you. Yes. I just you're always covering your chin for me. I just wanted to see your beautiful face. So Stewart had another, like, he almost, like, I thought he was gonna die 2 weekends ago. He used all of his medication, and then he started to sort of like gag again, but it was just very mild, and then it stopped. And so he's been good. He's pooping again.
Tell us about his poop.
Again.
Yeah, tell us about that.
It's fairly solid, it's pretty what you want, pretty much what you want it to be, maybe a little bit. It could be a little bit better. He used to poop like every single time he goes out. Now he goes like only every other time. But I feel more prepared for his death than I have ever felt, because I thought he was going to die 2 weeks ago. And I was like, this is how it's going to feel. Now I feel like it will be a familiar feeling, not a new feeling. Kevin and I have agreed that we are both on the same page about when it's time, that we are both on the same page of, you don't want to do it a day too late. Better do it a day too early than a day too late.
Yep.
And if we had gone to the vet, if we take him to the vet and they'd anyway tell us he's suffering, we're going to put him down. But he's wandering around the house. He's doing all the shit he used to do, i.e. sleeping. He's still with us, and he seems pretty. This morning I took them out, and we got back to our street, and I took Briscoe off the leash so he could run up and down our little dead end street in the snow, because he loves running in the snow, and I knew there was like no cars coming, and he's scared of cars anyway. But I knew no people were going to be outside for him to annoy. So let him run up and down the street, and I was like, fuck it, let's Stewart off too. And Stewart, like the little trotty trot back to the house, it was very sweet. Yeah.
Well, anyway. Stewart's poops have been timestamped. Thank you, Amanda. And honey kids, I'm so sorry. They lost their 4-year-old cat on Friday. It's awful. I'm so sorry.
Terrible, 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 terrible.
Hey, Rob. Rob says he is not strong enough to adopt a pet for this exact reason. Yeah. I've been trying to talk our 16, almost 17-year-old into going into like veterinary school, because she's so amazing with every animal. And that's the reason why she can't do it. She's like, I won't be able to watch animals die or deal with like hurt animals. And I get that. I get it. But
I get it too. I couldn't do it either.
I know. It's tough.
I can't watch that stupid Game of Thrones show. My husband's watching because like horses die in it and shit. And I'm like, these are fake horses having fake deaths. I know that. I absolutely know that. It's just like very hard for me to see that. People dying, having their eyes squished out like grapes and shit. Nah, no problem.
Yeah. It's fine. That's fine. Yeah, I completely understand. I love Game of Thrones, but you kind of like you get desensitized to. Well, at least I did. You get desensitized to violent. The horror.
I know. Yeah. It's so unbelievably relentlessly violent. The relentless violence isn't something I love. Oh, we watched a documentary this week that I told you that we're going to review on Crime Writers, that I told you should watch.
We started it.
Yeah. Did you start it? What do you think so far?
Honestly, I think it's overproduced.
Oh, really? I think it's very clever. This is Murder in Glitterball City. It gets the production sort of mellows out partially through, but it has like a Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil feel to it that I super like. I think I
love the characters. Yeah, the neighborhood, those women in the neighborhood are amazing, and the gay community. And I love the one person who like defined what gentrification is. Like basically when the gays come, the neighborhood's gonna like pick up again. And, she's totally right.
Yeah.
But yeah, I felt like I think for the first half an hour, 45 minutes, I'm in the first episode. I didn't like the way that they were telling the story through that guy's book.
Oh, but that's like a joke.
I get it.
As it goes on, that becomes less of a thing.
Yeah. I think I'm there now because I'm in the actual investigation part of it. So, and it's super interesting. It reminds me of that case in DC of the three gay men who invited their straight guy friend over after work one day, and then he was murdered, and the three of them acted like there had been an intruder. Do you know
Oh,
what case I'm talking about?
no, but that sounds like that other case where that guy catfished his wife and, got someone to come over and then he murdered both of them. He and
I
the
should tell
au
you
pair.
I should tell you about this DC case. It's very interesting. There's so much they never were able to do anything.
Add it to
Like,
the list, man. I'm dying to know.
yeah, it's such an interesting case. We'll definitely talk about that one. Should
One
we get
other thing.
into
One other
Yeah, go
thing.
ahead.
Have you
Yeah.
seen Neighbors on HBO? There's 2 episodes out. There's gonna be a 3rd one.
I It's on the list. I haven't started it. I've been having some anxiety lately when I'm watching stuff, and
Yeah.
that one's gonna give me anxiety. We sat down to watch the last night or the night before, One Long Night, I think it's called, on Netflix with, do you know what I'm talking about?
No.
It's about the woman who, let me see if I can find it. Hopefully I'm not freezing, but I probably am.
Oh, you're frozen. Totally. It's totally when you go
Right.
to other tabs. We've figured it out. Thank you for that
We have figured it
person in
out.
the comments who said that. Well, Neighbors is super interesting. It's about these petty spats between neighbors that have gotten, like, real big, and it's interesting because in
That's
the
it.
first episode especially, which is, like, this thing in Montana, or I think it's Montana, where it's, like, these people who built a gate on the private road so their neighbors couldn't, like, bring their horses through or whatever, and
Yeah.
then when you hear the people give their interviews, like, you're sort of like, one of the parties is 100% fucking QAnon, 100%, and he is 100% in the right about his dispute, and I the reason I like the show is because you end up realizing that, national politics mean nothing. What really
Mhm.
matters is the conversations you have with the people that live,
Yes.
like, 5 doors down from you. Like, that is actually your life, and that's kinda what the show is an allegory for, not an
Mhm.
allegory, but you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
I am enjoying it for that reason. It's also bananas, so I think it's worth
Absolutely.
watching for the bananas factor.
Danielle says Robert won, which is the case I was just telling you about in DC. It is such a crazy case. And also, I have to put this on the screen because it just made me smile. But oh, where'd it go? That's my lady right there.
Lindsay! Oh my goodness,
Uh
Lindsay, who I still haven't met.
Night Always Comes is the show we were trying to watch, and it's literally about this working class woman whose brother has Down syndrome and whose mother is a total fuck up. And they're about to be evicted out of the house that they've been renting for many, many, many years. And her mother is supposed to be going with her to, like, the lawyer's office to put a down payment to buy the house from the owner, is what I'm understanding it. But the whole thing is about economic, like, the first 5 minutes of the movie is just, like, you hear the news in the background being like, "No one can afford their rent, no one can pay for this, everyone's becoming homeless," and then it's, like, all these images of, like, unhoused people and blah, 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 and the amount of anxiety I started feeling having
Yeah,
been homeless at one point in my life,
yeah.
and the idea of losing my home again, or the idea, and not to give too many spoilers, but the mom doesn't show up, she goes and buys a car
Oh,
with the money, and if they get evicted, her brother with Down syndrome is gonna have to go into care,
oh,
and so the reason they need to keep the house is so they can keep her brother with them, and this woman, like, takes her brother with her to night school, and he goes and he sits in the office while she's working, like, she's his guardian, and not only did I feel, huge stress about, like, finances and homelessness and all this stuff, but that
it was
is
triggering.
exactly
Sounds like it
it
was
was so
actually triggering.
and it doesn't really happen to me, very
Yeah,
often,
yeah,
but I was, like, losing my breath. I was having a panic attack basically, and also the woman going out and buying a car is totally something my recently passed mother would have done as well,
yeah,
and so it was just, like, so much, and I was like, "Babe, I can't watch this." Like, we were 15 minutes into it, and I was like, "I can't. I'm having a panic attack right now." So,
yeah.
I don't know, maybe I'm getting old. Who knows?
Tara, you're right, the mediator in the Neighbors show was a joke. I believe he said it was his first ever mediation, and he just fucking gives up, like, 10 minutes into the mediation. It was very funny. And to, Tara, also, you said your partner warned you about the dog in John Wick. There's a website called doesthedogdie.com where you can just look up whether or not the dog, dies and things, but you can also just Google, as I always do, "Does the dog die?" and blah, 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 and when, because I always wanna skip
Mhm.
that part. So, I love Jennifer Jason Leigh. Is that who Jennifer Jason Leigh is in it?
She plays the mom.
Love her. I love her.
I would say that I'm trying to remember who played it. Does the chat know who played the main character? Because I really didn't buy that they were mother-daughter because their age difference wasn't big enough. But I don't know, just me. All right. We really need to get into the true crime of it all.
Okay.
All
You don't want to
right.
talk about gossip from the Turtleboy stream? Want to talk about real stuff?
We can start there.
Okay, so I can give you a thumbnail sketch, okay?
Okay. Yep.
Thumbnail sketches, as you know, there's been this dispute, this long-term online dispute between Meredith. I always say between people, but when one person is doing it more, it's hard to sort of say that. But Meredith O'Neill, Turtleboy's ex-girlfriend, fucking hates him and has been basically making content about how much she hates him and how much she wants to be left alone, and then continues to make that content, right? He a couple months ago did this whole like 3-part series that he calls his truth journey. That is what instigated this whole thing. It's a fucking mess. It's messy, 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 messy. And last night he did this thing where one of the mysteries here, and just as somebody who occasionally talks with him outside of all the content, I know it's true that he has really been befuddled by somebody having access to his electronic devices, communications, et cetera, and he hasn't been able to figure it out. That's actually, for those who doubt that that's true, it is true. Because at one point I was trying to help him figure one part of it out. I was like, try this, whatever. But last night he did a 4-hour thing where it was this. And when I say he's a good broadcaster, this was what I mean. He did this sort of slow build narrative about how he was able to sort of prove that she has been accessing his Twitter DMs because she has the email address that Twitter account was attached to. She doesn't have access to the Twitter account, but she has access to the email account.
Okay.
And so she was able to get into the Twitter account, and she's been, because they noticed this pattern basically of that was like something would be exposed, like some screenshot that was like Turtleboy flirting with somebody, and it was it was a screenshot from his Twitter DMs, and he's like, how the fuck would anybody get that? And
inside the house.
So that's what they've been claiming. Meredith and her friends have been claiming that he just has disloyal friends who leak all the time. So they apparently set up this sting basically where they did like a fake, he and his friend did like a fake exchange in the Twitter DMs and watched in real time. And he has a screenshot in real time of it going from unread to read. And then Meredith's friend who's in Australia, who's been supporting her and like tweeting all the stuff for her, he tweeted that like really like a couple hours later. Like it was like the sting was stung like a couple hours later, allegedly. And the only reason that not the only reason, I mean, the building of the narrative was very compelling. The most interesting part from a gossip perspective was that in real time, Meredith went live and was doing like a Spaces.
Okay.
And she was responding to his allegations in real time. And do you know how when somebody has been caught, like the initial explanation comes out as super convoluted and weird? So that's what happened essentially. Like, she's like, he's just going to say it's me again. And he's fabricated this whole sting thing. And he actually put her real-time thing in his show and was responding to it. This is why he's a good broadcaster, because he's like very good at being responsive to stuff. But basically she was like, so the person that was on with her was like, well, who sent you this screenshot? And she's like, I can't say. Of course I can't say. And then it was, but I will say. Now keep in mind, what they've been saying is that Chelsea, this woman he was DMing with, was the one leaking. Okay. That's what the narrative was, that his good friend has been leaking on him. But in real time, she's like, I can't say who sent it to me because they're anonymous. And then like a minute later, after some more talking, she was like, but the person did say they have access to Chelsea's DMs. And it's like, so it got even more convoluted. It got to like someone's now hacking this other woman, which is how, and it's like that completely is different than the narrative. So it's just like, it's fucking messy and it's not interesting and it's not important. But it is, for lack of a better word, a mess, a car wreck that I sometimes cannot look away from. Even though I do look away from it, because all these people have blocked me, I've muted them, so I don't see it actively. But when I see something going on, sometimes I'll look and I'll be like, man, this is messy. I think it's also like, you know how sometimes you watch true crime because you're so glad it's not happening to you. Other people's messes is kind of.
I don't know if that's why I watch true crime, but I understand what you're saying. I know that you like soap operas.
Yes, love them.
And this very much feels like a modern day
Except
soap
for
opera.
Young and the Restless, which is basically LinkedIn. So everyone does is all the intrigue is around work, switching jobs, stealing jobs,
Mhm.
hiring people.
Mhm.
It's basically the
Mhm.
LinkedIn of soap operas.
So weird.
General
We
Hospital
were
though rules.
we were talking just before we started streaming about this lesbian drama that's happening.
Oh, the lesbian drama. Yes. So
Oh,
Chris
I love
Evans,
Hoarders. I
who I
love
follow on
Hoarders.
Twitter, is always like he's the one who also I first saw the mahjong cheating scandal from.
Okay, hold on. We got to address that really quickly. For the chat and for the audience that's listening and not watching this, there was a group of older women. There is a group of older women who are part of a mahjong club. And if you don't, mahjong is that I don't know how to
It's a
explain it, but it's
Chinese
like
tile game that older
it's
Jewish
Chinese tile
people
game.
also love.
I love
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
Older lesbians love it too. And these women, there was one woman in the group who has been caught several times cheating.
Yes.
And one of their granddaughters, I think, started recording because she would get into the car with like her grandmother and one of her besties, and her grandmother would immediately launch into, I can't believe it. Last night at Mahjong, and they all pronounce it differently and they all pronounce it wrong.
Mahjong. Is it
Mahjong.
Barbara? Who's the woman? Is it Barbara?
I can't remember their names.
But they keeps and then at one point she gets them all together on the front porch and they're still talking about it. And she has this eerie like horror movie music
Yes.
behind it. And at one point that old lady accuses her of maybe killing her husband.
Yeah.
She's like, her husband's passed. I don't know. And it's like,
I
oh my
don't
God.
know. You guys have to go watch
good.
it. I couldn't stop watching it. It was literally,
It's
it was
a
one of the
series.
best.
It's
It
a
was one of the
series.
best true crime documentaries I've ever watched.
It's fucking fantastic. And this is sort of like this. Yeah. I said this to you today.
Rebecca was like, if you like the Mahjong ladies, you'll probably like this lesbian drama that's happening on TikTok. And it's literally, it was so boring to me because it's such a like I'm just like, oh, okay, you guys. But
you just think it's so typical and so reflective of your own life experience that it's not interesting to you. Is basically what you're saying.
It was also just like, ew, you guys are so gross. Shut up. I'm so sick of this shit. But basically, it was like these younger lesbians. They live 10 hours apart. And the first video is of the more feminine of the two. Not that, okay, don't come at me.
You're allowed to say that. I'm not.
Basically, I think that a lot of people think that like there's a boy and there's a girl in lesbian relationships, but oftentimes it's a femme person and a masculine presenting person, but sometimes it's two masculine people and sometimes it's two femme people. It doesn't really matter. In this situation, it was a more feminine woman and
we used to call them
masculine
lipstick lesbians in the 90s. Right?
Yeah, I'm considered a chapstick lesbian. It's true. I'm a chapstick lesbian. Because I wear makeup. Yeah.
That's the damn funniest thing you've ever said. No, it's up there. Sorry, you made me drop off my pillow.
Oh, sorry.
You ruined my pillowscape.
That's what lesbians do, Rebecca. So this one, I have to go through this really quickly because we haven't even gotten into anything yet. But this one woman makes a video on TikTok after this date that went horribly wrong in her opinion. And she basically was like, we'd only known each other for a few days. She lived 10 hours away. She was going to drive 10 hours for like, our meet or whatever. And, she sold herself as I'm someone who my love language is, or her love language was acts of service. And so she was selling herself as somebody who's like going to take care of things around the house and do things like that. And she's like, great, because my love language is receiving acts of service.
Same, by the way, same.
Yeah. And I'm an acts of service person, so I get it. So when I heard that, I thought, oh, good. So this other woman is going to come and hopefully they have a great interaction and a great date. And the other woman is going to like fix some things up around the house and like make coffee in the morning and blah, blah, blah. This woman goes on a rant about how for 3 days straight, this woman was in her house. She didn't ever make her a cup of coffee, even when like she made the coffee in the morning. And even when she even hinted like, I love coffee in bed. And the other woman goes, yeah, you're really good at making coffee.
Yeah.
And like didn't raise a finger to go make a cup of coffee.
But
okay, go ahead.
So
we're on different sides.
Then we hear from Hat Girl. Because the other woman, the more femme woman, was talking about how the other one's reading in bed wearing a hat. And I'm like, who reads in bed wearing a hat? And then the other woman came on and made her response angry video. And she was wearing a hat. And it was so funny.
Of course she was.
But my take is this. She was a guest in her home. And I just feel like
Yes.
when someone's a guest in your home, especially for the first time, you don't expect the guest to take out your fucking trash. I think that's
You do
bullshit.
not understand lesbians
I
then.
don't. You're my lesbian translator. I just don't. Sorry.
When we go to someone's house, we
Yeah.
do the dishes and we take out the trash. At
Well, you
least
should offer, but I
my
wouldn't
people
let
do.
you do it. That's what I'm saying. If you came to stay with me, you would offer to do those things, and I would say, "No fucking way. You sit down with your hat and keep reading, Mel, and I'm
Keep
gonna
reading
empty
your
dishwasher."
whatever, your sci-fi
Your fantasy
fantasy,
novel.
and then go play with your Magic the Gathering toy
So you
cards.
didn't think
That's
this
what
was
you were doing.
interesting because it was just boring to you.
I was
I
just
thought
like,
it was
yeah,
interesting because I took a side, that's all.
it was a 10-hour commute for a booty call, which happens, like I said to you, Rebecca, it's happening right now as we're sitting here. There are 50 million lesbians out there who are driving someplace to hook up with somebody or getting on a plane to travel across the world to go hook up with somebody. And they're going to get
Getting a
there.
babysitter for their foster dog so they can go hook up with somebody.
You know why I
Let's
didn't
add
like
some more stereotypes to this, shall we?
you know why I didn't like the woman in the hat?
Why?
'Cause she said that she was catfished by that
Oh, I missed that. I didn't see
incredibly
that part.
beautiful woman who
I didn't
was
see that part.
basically like, yeah, she said, the picture and the attitude and the personality didn't match what she was selling online. I was looking at that other woman and I was like, "She's gorgeous. What the
She was
fuck
hot,
are you
yeah.
talking about?"
Alright.
So, I was anyway, that
Are we
if
on
you're
opposite sides about the Turtleboy Meredith thing? That's more important.
No, I mean, I actually I think they're both acting insane and they both need to shut up about it. Like they both Meredith needs to go away. Turtleboy needs to stop talking about Meredith. I understand he's been hacked. Deal with that.
Mhm.
Like deal with it, but stop making this shit
It's not what
live.
I would do. It's not what I would do, right? Absolutely
Yeah.
not. It's not what I would do, and if he weren't such a good entertainer, I would not fucking even care to watch it, but, anyway, at
Yeah,
least
well, Rob wants to know if we're calling him old Jewish, Chinese, and a lesbian
clearly he's a
because apparently
mahjong player.
he likes mahjong. Yeah, the mahjong, controversy is diabolical. It was
It
amazing.
it
I
is.
couldn't stop watching it.
It's
That
as
and
good as that video with the 3 daughters, the 3 sisters, when one of them
mhm.
accidentally cuts their bangs too short.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking
That
about.
is so much
Oh.
suspense, it's fantastic.
Um, the other I mean, it's like there's so much viral,
You have another tab open, I can tell.
sorry, I did it. There's so much viral news happening right now that is pretty funny, and I think we need it right now because
Agreed,
everything else is a shit show. So,
agreed.
like, I've been completely invested in Punch the Monkey. Like, I can't look away from that.
Which is amazing because macaques, the kind of monkey that is, they all grow up to be super assholes. Like, Punch is gonna be an asshole. All
Oh
those
no.
monkeys, they're mean. They're mean to each other. They attack people. They attack other animals. Like, they're asshole monkeys. And now we have this sweet baby monkey Punch who's been, dragging around this IKEA stuffed animal and now
Aw.
finally has friends, and we're so excited about it. But in like 6 months, Punch is gonna be just as much of an asshole, and he's gonna be attacking another baby monkey. Like, that's
I
what's
don't
amazing
know.
about it.
I
You
don't
think
believe
Punch is
that about
different? You
Punch.
think he's
I
wired
do.
differently?
I think he's gonna learn from his own trauma, and he's the bully is not gonna become the bully.
Alright.
The bullied.
Everyone said that
Um,
about Jen McCabe too, just saying.
what did you call macaws? What did you say
Macaques.
they were?
They're
Macaques, I mean?
assholes. They're asshole monkeys.
Asshole monkeys. I think I'm an asshole monkey.
I wouldn't be friends with you if you were an asshole
I
monkey.
think I'm an asshole monkey. Do you know that my mother, used to be obsessed with having, a monkey? And
Like
and
Ross from
I
Friends.
yeah, but no, I'm convinced that the reason why she gave birth to me was because she just wanted a monkey.
She
It's
wanted you
like
to rip off her face when you became a
she
teenager?
she wanted me to be a monkey, like, someone who would cling to her and, like okay, we just got real, um, heavy and dark. Okay.
Sidetracked.
Okay. So, what do you wanna get into first? So, we've
Let's talk
covered
about
the
Karen's phone.
okay, that was really interesting. So for those of you who are listening and I know we're moving around a lot, but there was a hearing last week between Karen Reed's civil team and Cosgrove, who is representing the Commonwealth. Did I get that right?
Mhm.
Yeah, he's representing the Commonwealth. And it was about the Commonwealth has had Karen Reed's cell phones since January of 2024.
Mhm.
And it's supposedly from a separate investigation on witness
Yes,
intimidation.
for which they convened a grand jury that returned no bill.
Exactly.
And now they're saying they want to convene another grand jury.
Yes. So prosecutors tried to get a warrant to search the phone, but they were denied. They've had no new charges resulting from the seizure of her phones. And on top of that, as we all know, Karen Read did not hit John O'Keefe with her car, and John O'Keefe was not hit by a car, and therefore Karen Read was acquitted. So in this hearing, Karen's been asking for her phones back. And I believe they also had Turtleboy's phone as well, but that's a separate
They have
issue,
many,
right?
many, many devices of his. They still have them.
Yeah. So Karen Read's team is arguing that they don't have a warrant. They didn't have a warrant. They didn't bring charges. They lost the search fight, meaning the no true bill on the grand jury.
Also, a judge said they had to give him back.
Right. So give the friggin' phone back. Cosgrove is like, well, her phone might be relevant in a separate investigation, but I can't really tell you what that investigation is. There's no grand jury, here. We don't have another case going on. So, but there's a possibility that there might be a case in the future that we would need her phone for.
It's part of an
And
investigation.
yeah, and Karen seems like, yeah, you can't hold on to her property because there's a hypothetical investigation out there. I love this Judge Doolin.
Me too.
I love to watch his face in response to the lawyers, especially Cosgrove. He's just like his face is just like, are you fucking kidding me right now, dude? But he's also this like sort of giant jovial guy.
He's measured, he's jovial, he's great.
I love him. But he has not made a determination about whether Karen's going to get her phone back or not. But he was looking at Cosgrove like, what the fuck, bro?
Well, then the civil attorney for the O'Keefes called into the hearing
Yeah.
and
Oh,
said
that's
he
right.
had
That's right.
standing for the phones as well. And the judge is like, what is actually happening right now?
Yeah. The way that Doolin was looking at the computer screen when who was it? What's the I can't think of the attorney's name.
Someone in the chat remind us what his name is. He's got a silly name. Yeah, he came in on the Zoom like a disembodied head all of a sudden.
Yeah, it was so strange. Thanks, Nana Banana, for becoming a member. We appreciate you and love you. And I think we said Mary. Did you say thank you to Mary for becoming a new member?
No, I didn't.
Thanks, Mary. Oh, Diller. Yeah, Diller.
Diller. Yeah.
Diller is the attorney for the O'Keefes. And he called in to this hearing, which was so strange. Like, I feel like they don't have any rules when it comes to the Commonwealth side. It feels to me like they get to do whatever the fuck they want to do.
Right.
And if you're aligned with the Commonwealth, you do whatever the fuck you want to do.
So here's what I think. Here's my opinion. They've already searched her phones. They have.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's my opinion, is they have already searched them. They believe they have something there either to get her, because they're dying to get her for something, or it's relevant to Turtleboy's witness intimidation, the final Turtleboy case, which is the case with involving the McAlberts. They believe that to be true, and because they have it's very hard for me to imagine seeing the behavior of this prosecutor's office and the behavior of the cops who are involved in these searches that they haven't already searched them. Okay. But even if they haven't, it doesn't matter. And even if they searched her phones and found evidence she committed a murder, the bottom line is they did it without a warrant. Now that's fruit of the poisonous tree, so they can't fucking use it. So they are just dying to needle her and to get her for something, or they really want to put Turtleboy in prison. So they are. That's what this is about. Make no mistake about it. Karen Read is like absolutely in the right here for just wanting her property back. Remember how long it took them to get her car back? They were ordered to give her car back and then they just didn't. They would have kept that fucking car forever. Yeah. So did you, by the way, see the Trooper Paul report that I put in our links chat?
I did not look at it yet. I was hoping you were going to
part of the disclosure. Yeah, I'll tell you a little bit about it. But yeah, it's ridiculous, and I can't wait for the follow up. I can't wait to see the judge's ruling in this. I can't wait.
Yeah, really me too. I really like Doolin, and I think he has a good head on his shoulders, and he's gonna hopefully do the right thing. I will agree with I put the comment up a minute ago. Where did it go?
Oh, this is a good point. Yeah.
I agree. I mean, I think they're showing so much deference to Cosgrove because he's a former judge, but he doesn't deserve it. The way he's acting and the way he's arguing, he doesn't deserve it anymore. And I can't even imagine having that man as a judge on my case.
Yeah.
Cosgrove.
This is an interesting point. This is a good theory too, that they don't want to
Yeah.
give the phones back because then Karen will know they've done through them. That's actually a decent point.
Agreed.
But yeah, they are, because you can look at your logs, obviously your use logs on your
Yep.
Apple account and stuff and find out.
Yep.
As we,
I mean,
yeah.
that would be amazing though if they do get the phones back and she figures out that they looked at her phone. Like, I don't know what happens from there.
Well, she doesn't have any criminal proceedings right now, so there's not going to be any. I mean, maybe they'd get sanctioned in some proceeding, but like,
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, what does Karen do if she figures out that they look through her phones without a warrant? That's a pretty big problem.
yeah, she's one of the things that interests me about like the forehead people and the other people online who are just so obsessed with continuing to try to prove Karen Read's guilt.
Yes.
Is obviously their end game now is more pointed toward the civil suit, but there are still people on Twitter saying, I can't wait in for Karen Read to go to prison. Like,
Right.
that is not going to happen, guys, unless she murders somebody, or unless, it's like, it's not going to happen. Nothing that you say in your very poorly produced podcast is going to put Karen Read in prison. But that's what they really want. That's what they really seem to believe, that they can say something mystical that will get a jury to come back, and like the judge and jury will come back and change their minds and unacquit Karen Read. Like, only in Italy are there appeals, not only, but in Italy there are appeals for acquittals. That doesn't exist in the United States of America. So she's not going to prison. She'll lose her civil case. She's not going to prison.
Allegedly, there are voodoo dolls. So all they need is to sit down with the coven and work those voodoo dolls, I guess.
That's right.
But it's amazing to me that with all of these documents that are coming out that Corri Hopkins has gotten access to through her FOIA request, and that they're all public, they have public access. It seems to me like as soon as the document dump happened, that's when the anti-Free Karen Read people ramped up and decided they were going to try to prove that Karen killed John, but they can't because the sidebars, the documents, the audio, the video.
It's worse for them.
It's so much worse for them. It's so much worse for Jen McCabe in particular, who in one of the sidebars. Now this is alleged by, I think it was Alan Jackson at the time, but in one of the sidebars, I'm sure you all saw this. I'm sure you saw it, Rebecca. It came out in the sidebars that Jen McCabe may have intimidated Karina Kolakithis, who was the friend of John and Karen, whose husband and kids talked her into going out that night because she was like home in her PJs and was like, I'm done for the evening.
Sweet ass
like,
pharmacist.
Yeah, they were like, Mom, put your bra back on and get down to the bar. You need to get out of the house. And so she was like, fine. And so she went to the bar. And so she was talking to us. She was a witness to tell us about the relationship between John and Karen, whether Karen seemed drunk, all this stuff. And apparently, at the time, I remember you and I talking about it. This was trial 2. There was a rumor that the defense was going to try to say that she was intimidated by Jen McCabe.
Turtleboy said that. Turtleboy said tomorrow Karina Kolakithis is going to get on the stand and say that Jen McCabe tried to get her to change her story.
Right. And that never came out, and we never heard anything about it. And I was a little disappointed because if that was the case, I wanted to hear about it. Well, it happened in the sidebars. Alan Jackson or Yannetti, I can't remember who, was basically like, we have information that Jen McCabe intimidated this witness. There are no charges, obviously, but it's there on the record in the court case.
Well, and Jen had to consult a lawyer because they were like, and in the sidebar, they said, does she have a lawyer? Because she might need one. Yeah.
And it seems like Karina isn't the only person that Jen McCabe has allegedly tried to intimidate. Tom Beatty.
So let's talk about Tom Beatty for a second. I'm fascinated by Tom Beatty. So one of the things that's come out in the disclosure, obviously, my favorite measured person in the world who's also helped us get a lot of this stuff is Marbury v. Mad, Corri Hopkins.
Yes.
And she keeps posting snippets of video. And when I don't understand what it's supposed to prove or say, like, she will tell me, like literally she'll tell me.
Yeah.
But one of the videos that's been posted, is like this library footage that
Yes.
shows, you know, Karen Reed driving by or whatever. And there's also the farm footage, which we talked about. We talked about the farm footage, right? Yeah, we did.
We haven't talked about it on I don't think we've actually talked about it in our stream. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think you
Okay.
and I may have talked about it offline.
Yeah, the farm footage that just shows her driving by and her tail. Yeah, we talked about it because I remember talking about the
We did?
taillight not
Okay.
being
Oh,
damaged.
shit.
And
I'm
that
lost.
and that Plevin said it was going to show her getting out of her car and staring at her own broken taillight, and that clearly didn't happen. But one of the
Bombshell.
pieces of footage, if Colin left when he said he left, you would have seen his car driving by in that time frame,
Mhm.
or Allie McCabe's car
Yep.
driving by in that time frame, and you don't. So that was like something that came out. Tom Beatty is the father of a girl at the time, who's
Mhm.
adult now, it's like just like Colin, a girl Colin's age, who Colin called at 12:33 in the morning,
Yes.
the morning that John O'Keefe died. 12:33, of course, very, very close to when John O'Keefe would have been incapacitated. You know, I believe it happened about 5-7 minutes before that, but like that's close. And
Mhm.
allegedly, he asked her something, either to come pick him up
Right.
or to try to give him an alibi so that he wouldn't be placed at the house. Tom Beatty then said, and he said it publicly many times, that his daughter was bullied by adults in Canton into shutting the fuck up. One of them at one point said that she had a dick in her mouth. Like people said
Oh my
horrible
god.
things about her online. And of course, it totally activated him because he's like, he probably didn't want to get involved. Also, remember, Jen McCabe called Tom Beatty's house a bunch of times after Karen called him at like 5 o'clock in the morning. So she called. So Tom Beatty is like somebody, he's a good friend of John's.
Yep.
He's peripherally involved in some way. Who the fuck knows? But like, you know, not in John's death, but like peripherally involved in their with whatever story they were going to
Right.
construct.
Yep.
And he's just like, fuck all you.
Yes.
But he also has a kid, right? So he's showing up to sports games and stuff. And there's
Mhm.
video of him going to this like lacrosse game in Canton,
Yep.
and the McCabe's being super shitty to him.
Yep.
Now,
Like,
granted,
nobody wants you here. Get out of
that's
here.
not
Like,
witness intimidation, by the way. Just like Turtleboy saying that is not witness intimidation. So the one
right.
thing that I don't like about this discourse is that people are accusing Jen McCabe of doing what Turtleboy did and saying, why
Yep.
isn't she charged with witness intimidation? Bottom line is he shouldn't be charged with it because that's not what he
No.
did, and that's not what
No.
she's doing either. But it is shitty. It's sure
It is
shitty.
shitty.
Yep.
Well, I will say if she's trying to get a witness to change their testimony, that is witness intimidation.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
Karina Kolakithis is who I'm talking about.
That potentially, absolutely. And Karina Kolakithis seemed so earnest and like one of these people who, like, were it not for, you know, being called, probably didn't want to be involved in any of this fucking shit, right? Like
Right.
nobody
Yeah.
wants to be involved in a criminal case. People, despite what you might see in Turtleboy Drama Land with all these women and stuff, like people don't typically have contact with the police in their lives. That's not
Mhm.
actually like what most
They
people's
don't want
experiences
to.
with, and they
Yeah.
don't want to. And if something happens next door, they will do anything they can to not be involved in that.
Right. And they definitely don't want to have to go on the witness stand in a murder trial.
Right,
And I
right.
mean, honestly, Karina Kolakithis told us exactly what she wanted out of that night, which was to basically get into her cozy PJs and cuddle up on the couch and probably watch some TV. And she got talked into getting into this.
Yes.
And I'm sure she wishes that she hadn't gone, but at the same time, she was a good witness for the defense, I thought.
Yeah.
So, you know, she was helpful there. One of the things that I did love, I know there's a lot, we've talked back and forth about Sam Benning, Sam.
Who I've watched some of the videos. I'm not as big a fan as you are, but I know that you're a fan. Sam
I'm not
Beningo.
really Beningo. I'm not really a fan as much as I am interested in sort of the psychological breakdown of a person's demeanor and
And that's why I'm
their
not a fan, because I'm not.
and their speech patterns and things
Yeah.
like that. I am. Um, and I did find it interesting because she takes a couple of she basically does this series where she takes witnesses who she says are telling the truth, like who don't have any skin in the game, who are just there to do the job that they've been asked to do, which is Karina Kolakithis and the girlfriend, Ryan, no, not Ryan Nagel. Yeah, Ryan Nagel's
Heather
ex-girlfriend.
Maxon?
Heather Maxon,
Super
and
cute
right.
Heather Maxon.
Yeah, so these people don't have any skin in the game. So she breaks down basically their psychology. They don't have anything to hide. So she compares like honest testimony with people who are being deceptive.
Yeah.
And I do find it interesting because she makes a point to say Karina Kolakithis says something on the stand. She's like always leaning in, and like trying to hear the next question. And when she screws up, which one of the things in her testimony was that she started to say CF McCarthy's and she went, "Oh, I'm sorry, I meant waterfall." And then she said, "I'm sorry, I'm very nervous."
Yeah.
Like those kind of things were very different from Julie Nagel's testimony, for instance. Julie Nagel's testimony is very interesting. And I would tell everybody to go back and watch it. And also maybe watch Sam's video about it. It is very fascinating to me. And Sam took this Truth and Transparency, Lana, with Michael Lenk's phone in the pocket, or John O'Keefe's phone in Michael Lenk's pocket video a little bit further. And I do think that she was able to basically say that didn't happen. I don't think she says that she doesn't think that Michael Lenk had John O'Keefe's phone in his pocket. And I didn't know either way. I just want someone to prove it to me, But what Sam is positing is that the phone never left the house until it did, which means that it wasn't, she's saying she believes it wasn't under John's body when Carrie and Karen rolled him over.
That's possible.
What do you think about that?
I mean, it's possible. The phone thing is, there's so much stuff about the phone that proves things. And there's other things about the phone that makes you look in a certain direction. And there's other things about the phone that don't matter. Okay. Yeah. So one of the things about the phone that does matter is the temperature of the phone, because that's not disputable. Yes. You can say the location data is disputable. Some people will say it isn't, but some people will say that it's, it's within a certain margin of error. Right. So absolutely, he could have gone into the house or the garage and climbed 3 flights of stairs and all the shit the phone on its face says he did. It could have something else have happened with a different interpretation. Sure. Well, you can't dispute the temperature stuff, the battery temperature stuff, in my opinion. And assuming the battery temperature report that we have is true, I'm just going to assume the data is real, benefit of the doubt. Then we know that over, from when John arrived at the house to like 12:45 in the morning, the battery temperature dropped to like, eventually it hit something like 55 degrees and never got lower than that. Right. And, the next morning it was found under his body, and they're saying the warmth of his body. But if he were dead, that's very disputable. And also the ground was very frozen. So, I've always thought that the phone was likely in the garage or the basement, but more likely the garage. So I don't know. I mean, that's interesting because there's this video that people say shows Carrie going into the house. But the only reason I don't think that is because Carrie, I don't think, knew anything. I don't think Carrie knew. And I don't think Carrie knew anything would know to go in and get a phone. You know what I mean? I just don't think Carrie was just like a dummy who was taken along for the ride in this instance. So, I just think this kind of speculation is not that important, and we shouldn't, in my opinion, I don't get too hung up on it.
I do want to know what happened with his phone, because the thing that I do get caught up on is the temperature, like you're saying. His phone would have, how when your phone gets too cold or too hot, it shuts down?
Yes.
Or it says, "Hey, I'm too hot, I'm going to shut down. Hey, I'm too cold, I'm going to shut down." His phone should have shut down if it was underneath his body on the frozen ground.
Well, if it didn't shut down, it should have been colder. Just like he should have had hypothermia. The lack of hypothermia is so important, and no one talks about it enough.
I agree. And like, he didn't have any frostbite. I've gotten frostbite before. I got it as a kid, being out in the snow too long. You get frostbite, hypothermia is a real thing. If he didn't have a coat on and he had been drinking, which means that you're sweating more, you're letting your heat out faster. Like there would have been so many physiological things that would have happened to him if it happened at 12:30 at night and he wasn't found until 6 a.m., 5.5 hours, all kinds of shit would have happened to John's body because of the cold. Yeah. And it didn't happen.
Yes. And someone pointed out data points to it being likely that his face was used to unlock the phone after he was incapacitated. Yes. The other thing people don't talk about enough, aside from the lack of frostbite and hypothermia, is the vomit.
Yes,
being where
yes.
it is,
Did you notice
that it
in
traveled so far down his body,
yeah,
and inside of his clothing, that there are medical facts that have gotten lost in the fray, and
yes,
those 2 things to me, aside from the dog bites, the lack of hypothermia, and the vomit, to me, are, like, the 3 most important things. I can buy that the black eyes were caused by a fall and not a
sure.
punch. I mean, I think that there's a very that's what the medical examiner said. I
Yep,
found the medical examiner to be very credible, the one who actually did, Irina Scorti-Bello.
yep,
And also, we heard the same from other people. So,
yep.
I buy that. I buy that that's potentially why he had the raccoon eyes. The vomit, the lack of frostbite or hypothermia, and, the
Lividity, which is TC Nerd just said
lividity too.
lividity. The
Absolutely.
lividity, we talked about this a lot on the readathon. The lividity was so important to me because they were actually showing the lividity in the photos that they were showing of John's arm.
Right.
And it wasn't I'm like, why did we not talk about this more?
Okay. This is the other thing I wanna say about the disclosure. I
Yes.
know that some people have cleaned up some of the stuff. I know that. That
Yeah.
being said, we are seeing stuff from the disclosure that is so much clearer than
Yes.
stuff we saw the state present at trial. Do
Yes.
you think, because at one point, like, they're showing this photo of John's arm and they're talking about, like,
Yep.
but it's like the state is always like, "That's just a shadow. That's just a freckle. That's just whatever." These photos fucking suck
Yeah.
compared to what they could be. All the video sucks. All the
Yep.
photos suck. All the
But
cameras
not
suck.
but this discovery that we like Corey's the files that Corey's received. So I encourage everybody to go. I'll put it in the show notes and drop the basically the drive where Corey is storing all the files. I think it's through Lupo Lawyer, but I can't remember for sure. Um the video of the waterfall is so clear. You know how okay, throughout the trial, both trial 1 and trial 2 if I remember correctly, the defense made such a big deal about Brian Higgins and Brian Albert play fighting or sparring or whatever they called it at the waterfall. And I always thought, why are they pushing this narrative? Like, what is going on here? But it's because the videos that we saw during the trial were so grainy, you couldn't really make out what they were doing. Go watch the video from the waterfall where Brian and Brian are sparring. There is something weird going on there. There
Well,
is
also,
something going on there.
doesn't it strike you how the only videos we saw at trial was that split view of the
Oh,
door
yeah.
over here and the bar over here?
Yep.
It made the place look big. So,
Huge.
like, it made it appear as if when, Brian Higgins was standing at the door, like, let me at him," and Chris Albert, it made it
Yep.
appear as if they were far enough away that he could have been talking to somebody
No.
else.
They were like
They
10
were
feet away from John.
That is one of the smallest bars I have ever seen. It's so
Yeah.
small. Like
So
the
here's
back wall where the windows are, it's like
yeah.
back wall, high tops, bar. That's it.
Yes.
There's no,
And the
like,
little tiny
area with
stage on the side.
yeah, there's no area with tables between the door and the
Yep.
bar. It's like the room from the front wall to the bar appears to be like 12 feet. It looks really
Yeah.
small.
That's what I'm
So,
saying. So, like, you can in these videos, they're so much clearer than what we saw in the trial. You can see John communicating with Brian Higgins when Brian's like and when Chris I think it was Chris that walks up to him or Kevin that walks up to him and grabs his arm and pulls it down when Brian's, like, gesticulating toward
yeah.
John.
Yeah, it's Chris.
They are literally 10 or 15 feet apart at the most.
They're close, yeah.
And also, the bar is closing down, so there's no more live music playing, and there's maybe 10 to 15 people left in the bar. So if Brian Higgins is shouting or saying anything, everyone in
Everyone's
that bar
there.
probably heard it,
Yeah. Yeah.
including John. And so they're trying to get him to shut up. One of the things that I missed in the trial video was that when Brian and Brian are doing their fake fighting, sparring, whatever, they're literally so into it that they're moving the high top. Did you notice that?
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's like the line of high top table right behind them. It's moving. They keep jamming it, slamming into it, and it's
Well,
moving.
they're big guys, Mel.
I know, but I'm just like, and then they stop for a minute, and then Brian Albert goes right back to him and like puts him in a bear hug from behind
Yeah.
and starts it again.
Oh,
And it's
let's
just
be like other people. Maybe they're gay.
that's why I mean that's what
That was
Higgins and
so
John would
gay.
say. That was so gay. They're so gay. That's what honestly, when I watched it, I was like, why are these guys doing this foreplay in the
'Cause
middle of a
they're
bar?
gay. 'Cause
They're
they're
so
gay.
gay. And they're bears. They're big gay bears.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
For those who are just joining us now, I am not being homophobic. We are calling back to the homophobia that we called out
yeah.
in text messages between John O'Keefe and Brian Higgins earlier in the
John
program.
O'Keefe, yeah, John O'Keefe and Brian Higgins. There's literally a conversation that goes back and forth. Here's where I was like, Brian Higgins, you are such a snake, dude. Like, he was talking to John about Karen inviting her single girlfriends over when he was already interested in Karen. And I think they might have been talking. I'm not sure how the timing worked out, but John says something along the lines of, like something like, oh, well, maybe we'll invite one of her friends who's a lesbian and then you can turn her. I was like, there's not a lesbian on the planet that would be turned by Brian fucking Higgins. Let me just say it that way.
That's true. That's true.
But I was just like, you guys are assholes. And then they're talking about like having the gay guys come over and, and then of course, but my favorite part of this story is not that John and Brian Higgins were being homophobic in text. My favorite part of this story is Grant Smith Ellis being like, they were all having sex with each other. Like that was his idea. Like from those texts.
I don't know hardly anything about him other than the fact that seems like an odd guy who occasionally hits on stuff and occasionally is just way out there. Yeah. Why is he called the Towel? And why does he always talk about towels? Do you know?
Something happened recently. It was when
recent because he's been being called the Towel for years.
Well, I know, but when I'm saying the reason, if Emily C is in the chat, she'd be able to tell us, but it's been recent that they've come up with the little towel cartoon and the t-shirts and all that stuff. Something happened. You know how everybody was like, oh, Grant Smith Ellis is doing some good work. He's not such a bad guy. And then everyone who hated him, like, is now friends with him and they're all buying the towel t-shirt and stuff like that. I have no idea what it means. If the chat knows, please let us know. I know Emily C knows about it, but I don't know. He makes me feel anxious when I listen to him.
He's very anxiety.
Oh, there it is. That's what it is. That makes sense. It's Towley from South Park because
he's that
makes sense. Okay.
That makes perfect sense.
Thank you. Thanks, Oh Sweetie No, for letting us know. Yeah, I just think that this is what I said at the end of the second trial. I said, what are all these people going to do with themselves now that this is over?
What are we doing with ourselves now that it's over?
Well, I mean, we're still talking about it, obviously, but we're not. I don't feel.
I have other interests. Do you have other interests?
I have a lot of other interests. But this drama that is being drummed up, I feel like they're trying to make a brand out of the drama. And I'm just like, I'm over it. Like, do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I really enjoyed, I don't know. I think that the civil case is giving people an excuse to keep shitting on Karen and lying about her case. I'm still getting inbound tweets about how I'm a shill for Karen Reed and how I just said this thing that isn't true, that actually is true.
It's true. Yeah.
What amazes me is the people who think that if they just say something, then they're right. It's fucking wild to me. It is wild. Like the lack of critical thinking. You know, there are times where in this case and other cases, like I go down a road and then I find out, okay, well, that can't be true. So I'm going to back my car out of that road and get back on the regular road until a different road comes up. And sometimes that road is fruitful and sometimes it's not. And sometimes I'm wrong and sometimes whatever. The lack of sort of acknowledgement of anything that's just not true. Like the assertions that this farm video would be so damning to Karen Reed.
Wait, explain to the audience what you're talking about, because I don't know if everyone knows what you're talking about.
The farm video?
Yep.
Oh, so it's one of the disclosure streams shows Karen Reed's car being followed by Carrie Roberts' car. This is the trip from Jen McCabe's house when Jen McCabe suggested, let's bring your car back to John's before we go out and do anything, which some people believe was an additional tactic to have more time pass between when she went to their house and when they would go over to 34 Fairview to look around. So they drive from Jen McCabe's house back to John's, which is where the famous Carrie Roberts lie didn't happen, where they got she got out of her car and she noted the whole taillight missing and Karen's sweater got snagged on it or whatever. It didn't happen. It's on video.
And there's audio. There's also audio on that video because it's ring camera. And just to be clear, Jen McCabe is the one driving Karen's car.
Correct.
And Carrie and Karen are following back to John's house.
That's right. And you can see clear as day in that video that the diffuser is not missing from Karen's taillight. That if anything, it's not the world's clearest video, but all the lights are red. And if anything, there's like a dark circle in
Yep.
the middle of the passenger side taillight that might be there or might just be pixels. You can't tell. But even if it is there, that exactly matches the crack that Nicholas Barrow
Barris.
says he saw
Yep.
on the car that she may have gotten from backing out of John O'Keefe's driveway and
Well,
hitting his Traverse.
one of the videos that is in this file dump is a much clearer video of Karen backing out and hitting John's car.
Of course.
And when she comes back around to go out of the driveway, we're on the passenger side of the car and you can see the whole taillight. I mean, you can see it.
I've been
So,
wondering about that Ring video being so shitty because I have
yeah.
Ring cameras there. I believe Ring is the brand he has. I
Yes.
have entry
Oh,
level.
wait. Is that true? We
Yeah,
talked about this before.
because they said they wanted to subpoena stuff from Ring. It is
Ring.
true.
Okay.
It's Albert who had a Nest camera who claims it was never installed.
Right.
Anyway, only cop I've ever met then who didn't have a security camera in their house.
Yeah.
So I've been very curious about the shittiness of that video even at night because he
Yeah.
has the kind where the light comes on. You have seen video from my Ring
Mhm.
camera, the video that I took of Kevin
Yes.
cleaning the driveway,
Yes.
which is the same
So clear.
distance as this video is. And I'm talking to Kevin through the Ring and he's talking, the sound is crystal clear.
Perfect.
The video is crystal clear.
Yep.
And I have an entry level Ring camera with like the basic subscription that just lets us keep looking back at our videos. That's all I have. I don't have the whatever fanciest one they have. I have the one that's like the security light one, and I have one in back that's the security light motion activated one. That's just what he appears to have.
Yeah.
And the video is so shitty that we saw on
Yeah.
trial. And I think that, Michael Proctor thanking Colleen Crawford for working with the videos, it's indicative of the fact that those videos were in fact altered for our eyes at trial and altered for the disclosure. By the way, remember how last week I said it was very unclear to me whether or not this stuff was disclosed to defense or not?
Yes.
I asked Corri Hopkins and it's also not clear to her. So
Yeah.
it's like, it is unclear whether defense had this stuff. I've been assuming they don't because especially with the Kelly Deaver tape.
Yes. Yes.
I can't imagine they wouldn't have used that if they had it. So anyway, but yeah, it
So
was
many things. Imagine if they
excuse
had, if they had but here's the thing I don't understand. And this is me, just trying to figure out whether the defense had this stuff or not. If the defense had been given the Ring camera footage that I saw and you saw and everybody else has seen now in discovery, they would have used that in court.
Yeah.
It is a clear image of the taillight.
Yeah.
Which tells me that maybe they didn't have the clear footage. Maybe they only had the grainy footage. And I can tell you, as a video editor, the easiest thing in the world to make a black and white or a nighttime, any video really, look grainy is you literally drop a filter on it.
Yeah.
There are filters in Final Cut and in Adobe that are like grain filters to make it look like old TV and shit like that. And if you don't know what you're looking at, if you're not a tech person, you're not going to notice it. I want Colleen Crawford on the record, and I don't know how that happens, but how do we get her files?
I don't know if she's going to be deposed or not in this civil case, but that would be interesting.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
One of the other things that came out in the sidebars, and this has also not been proven yet, not that it needs to be proven, but Alan Jackson, I believe, when Higgins is testifying, they are talking about the fact that Higgins may have gotten a proffer from the FBI.
Yeah. Queen for a day.
Queen for a day. We talked about this before. What I find interesting about this, so I wanted to bring it up again, is how do we determine that? How do we figure it out? How do we get to the bottom line?
Well, it would have been in the federal documents if that happened.
Right. So if my point
There's
is that
a bunch of stuff in the federal documents that has not come out publicly. And remember, there were like 4,000 pages of material. If he got a proffer, it would have been the existence of that would have been mentioned in there, in my opinion.
Right. So if Alan Jackson is bringing it up in sidebar, then it must be true.
Probably. I mean, everything that we saw in trial that from the defense, a lot of it was informed by material in the federal documents that they could not directly point to, but they could ask questions based on the material in the federal documents. Right. So that's how the phone being thrown out in two dumpsters in the military base came out. I watched that testimony back. He first asked them about the question. He denied it. And then next time when asked after a break, after a weekend, he acknowledged it. And it's like, they know because the feds figured it out. The feds
Right.
either had video footage or they had, pulled data from his GPS or phone or something. I believe they probably had video footage. Military bases are obviously very well
Yeah.
surveyed.
Yeah.
But yeah, Colleen Crawford is an important character.
Very much so. And who was the other guy?
Remember she
Fanning?
denied that expert witness access to the said
Yep.
that they didn't have any of the stuff. They weren't
Yep.
allowed to use them. Like with the evidence that Bev Canoni didn't let in regarding
Yeah.
video and audio in this trial, when you realize the evidence that she didn't let in was actually the evidence that also could have proved Karen's guilt, it's actually kind of
Mm.
astonishing that she didn't let
Yeah.
metadata in, that she allowed screen caps of texts in.
I think it's because she didn't understand any of it herself. I think she was worried that she wasn't gonna that she was so much of a Luddite that she wouldn't be able to understand half of it.
Maybe.
That's just me, like, you know, hypothesizing. Speaking of the federal case,
Yes.
I want to transition a little bit into a situation that's happening. Again, I don't want to talk about these people, but the coven has stuck their fingers in the mix again. And they have moved on from making false copyright claims on YouTube folks like ourselves to contacting the district attorney's office. So Meatball Morrissey's office and his little guy, Greg Connor,
Who's running for DA against Adam
who's
Deitch.
running for DA or against Adam Deitch, to let them know that Microdots has put out a website that exposes what Michael Morrissey's been up to and what Greg Connor's been up to. And they've given, allegedly, they have given Greg Connor Microdot's real name, which it's out there because he was outed during the second trial, I think it was.
He's also been outside of the trials. His name's like Ronnie something. Like that's the thing that people know. Yeah.
So, but they're getting their hands in the mix again, and they are basically publicly tweeting like, "I hope he sues your ass off," and blah blah blah. Microdots has been talking about a possible incoming lawsuit from Greg Connor. Today I read that Microdots is saying that Greg Connor's office is going to try to say that Microdots is a super PAC. Do you want to? What are your thoughts on that?
That's really funny.
I know.
Has Microdot received any donations from voters? Because that's, the definition. First of all, you have to register as a PAC. First of all, I think that if anyone told him that, or if somebody DM'd him and told him that, a PAC has to disclose its donors to the FEC, the Federal Election Commission. I know a lot about PACs and election donor data because I worked in a newsroom where we have the New Hampshire primary.
That's why I'm asking.
Every 4 years. And I've looked at a lot of fucking PAC donor data logs. And basically PACs, it's kind of self-reporting. So it's also not super reliable, but it's also easy to, sort of suss stuff out. Like there was a congressman from New Hampshire when I first started working at NHPR who lied about the source of some money that had come in. And he ended up having to, I don't think he resigned. I think he just ended up not running again. It was Frank Ginta, if anyone's curious. But
Frank Ginta.
So if he's a PAC, it means he's registered as a PAC and with the FEC, and that he would have to disclose political donations to the FEC. If he has registered as a PAC and has received political donations up to a certain cap or whatever, then he's not a fucking PAC. That's not what a PAC is. So whoever told him that has no idea what the fuck they're talking about.
Okay, well, he's not registered as a PAC. He is only making these videos, and he has created this website. He is
exercising his First Amendment rights.
Yes, he is a one-person show, and of course, he gets money on Patreon and YouTube and all the places where we all support ourselves. But like
these forefathers, man, I don't get it. I don't get what they're after.
The Housewives. I love that one. Melissa Housewives. That's a good one. I don't understand what they're doing either, but they have so much confidence and the audacity. They remind me of the frat brothers in that video I showed you in our last stream.
They have the confidence of mediocre white men. They really do.
They absolutely do. And they have
no offense to all the mediocre white men in the audience. I'm not talking, not all men, not all mediocre white men.
Not all men. Okay, guys.
That's always a joke I always turn to Kevin, and I'm always like, not all men, honey.
Just maybe you should smile more and not get so offended all the time. But the idea that they have this confidence that no one's going to come after them and no one's going to say anything to them, and they can just try to come after these people and tweet publicly, you're going to get your ass sued off. And we gave him your real name. Like it's threatening behavior. It's bullying
They
behavior. And I
love
don't,
the idea of people getting in legal trouble. And this is like,
yeah.
now I know we've moved on from this drama. But one of the things that Meredith has been tweeting about is, did Turtleboy lie on his mortgage application? Because he's
Oh,
buying a
for
house. He's been very
fuck's
public about it.
sake.
And she's like, you can't have pending charges and apply for a mortgage. That is not fucking true. It's just
What
like
is she?
the confidence. She
That's
doesn't
what
know
I'm
who's,
saying.
yeah, she doesn't know where he's getting his mortgage. Like, he doesn't fucking know. And it's like the confidence with which I think that people talk to each other and like an
Mhm.
idea gets incubated. And it's like, you know
Yeah.
how you and I sometimes talk and we like a little gossipy gossip and we're like, what if?
Yeah.
But then we look it up and we realize, no, that's not right. We're wrong.
Yeah. Yeah.
They let that tornado continue to grow and spiral. Somebody has a little idea. Oh, what about copyright violations? Oh, yes, let's do that. And they're like, the terms of
Yeah.
service say this. And it's like, no, they don't. Like, what are you talking about? You're just lying. And you're just like, you got your little gossipy seeds with each other turn into like hurricanes of shitty behavior. It's amazing.
Yeah. I'm just like, what are we doing here? And honestly, I watched Greg Connor. I want to play devil's advocate here for a minute too. I watched Greg Connor in that trial with Brian Walsh. He's a very good attorney. He's a
He was
very
fine.
good prosecutor.
Yeah.
He's
I don't
like,
trust anybody that worked closely with Morrissey. I just
I
don't.
don't either. And also I just want to put this little side note out there. You and I were talking over the weekend, I think. Michael Morrissey popped up for some reason in the Epstein Files. Leah Genduso as well. But
Yeah.
Michael Morrissey popped up because apparently there were some
He was
mob
accused
boss
by an accuser.
by
These
an
were allegations
accuser
by an accuser, yes.
that he received campaign funds from basically well-known sex traffickers and predators and mafiosos. I don't know if that's going to go anywhere, but Morrissey's definitely in the files, as
I'm
is
not.
Leah.
Are
I'm
you?
not.
Yeah.
I'm not in the
I
files. No,
checked. I'm not.
no, I'm not. You checked.
I did.
Karen's in the files.
I mean, I
But
checked as far as one can check with 3 million documents in a very shitty search system. But like, yeah,
yeah.
yes, if you're in the, so why hasn't a reporter done a story about him? Even everybody who's mentioned in the Morrissey files has gotten a
Yes.
news story. Like you
Yes.
see a news story about so-and-so who works at Columbia, was mentioned in the Epstein files and has now resigned from whatever, so-and-so, that's whatever. How come a Boston reporter has not done a story where they have tried to contact Morrissey to get his reaction to being mentioned in the Epstein files? That is
Because
that's newsworthy. That is a newsworthy story.
you're absolutely right. But this is going back to what happened during the trials. The Boston Globe and well, the Herald was covering it a little bit, but the Boston Globe wasn't fully covering what was
Right.
happening in this case.
Right.
It felt to me like Morrissey's office was being protected.
Well, they want to, what happens in big newsrooms very often is they want to maintain their sources. So
Yes.
they will do more due diligence before reporting a story about a source than they would about anybody else. But somebody, if there are any journalists in the Boston area listening to me right now, or
Yes.
anybody who knows a journalist in the Boston area, ask whether or not they think it's newsworthy that Michael Morrissey, the DA of Norfolk County, who famously prosecuted Karen Reed twice and has been the
Mhm.
subject of a federal investigation, likely been the subject of federal investigation,
Mhm.
who tried to get that investigation moved out of the jurisdiction. So clearly it affected him in some way.
Right.
Isn't it newsworthy that
Yes.
there is a 42-page document in the Epstein files that mentions him repeatedly as
Yes.
being someone who covered up sexual abuse and was affiliated with criminals in Norfolk County? That is something that some reporter should at least be getting his response about.
Mhm. Yes.
That is newsworthy.
Yes. But like, do you remember the coverage when he put the hostage video out?
Yeah.
Any regular news cycle would have been all over that. Like any news organization would have been like, what is this prosecutor doing? Like
I don't know
everyone,
about that. News organizations fucking love prosecutor statements. They love them. I mean, they're
they
probably
love
just so
all
happy to get
attorneys.
the information that nobody looked at the optics of it, you know?
Yeah, I know. I mean, and I think that you're absolutely right. I think access has sort of ruined us for any kind of journalism in this country because what we're seeing is like, I always think when I'm thinking about access, I always think about the White House press corps and how they are supposed to basically work as a team unit. And so when one of their reporters is attacked or one of their reporters doesn't get their question answered by whomever they're asking, or if one of their reporters gets called piggy, all of the
They
rest
used
of
to
that.
all rally. They used to all rally.
That is my point. They're
Yeah.
supposed to. That's what they're supposed to do. I don't think enough people understand that.
Yeah.
That the people who are on Air Force One, or the people who are in the Oval Office as a group of reporters, no matter the fact that they come from so many different networks and all these different places, they are supposed to work as a team to get answers for the American public. So when one of their reporters is being attacked or is being told to smile more instead of asking about the Epstein victims, or is not getting their question, like when someone says to a CNN reporter, I'm not going to take questions from you, you're CNN, the next reporter that's up should be asking the question that CNN was trying to ask.
100, but that's
And
what they
they
used to
are
do.
not doing that.
Yeah, that's what they
And
used
it's
to.
because they want access to this administration, and
Well,
that's
the
fucked up, and it's
administration
not
has shown that
journalism.
they will yank their credential if they don't.
Absolutely.
So speaking of that, did you see after the Karen Reed hearing the other day that Kate Peter, like, verbally assaulted her, like verbally attacked her,
Yes.
and then bragged about it?
Yes. Yeah.
There
On
were
the spaces.
there were a bunch of Karen Reed supporters there, and I don't think anybody intervened, and I don't understand that.
I think that in those situations when it's a layperson, I'm not defending anybody, just let me put that out there. But the whole, witness, what is it called? The witness phenomena or whatever. If you
Bystander
were
phenomenon.
bystander phenomena, if you are not a person who is like, if you can't handle yourself any kind of physical confrontation or verbal confrontation, when you see it happening to someone else, oftentimes people turn away from it, even if you are like aligned
But
with
there were
that person.
journalists there.
I know.
That's not tape we saw on the news. Nobody asked any questions. I'm sure the journalists all know who she is because she's been a looming
Yep.
figure on the sidelines in this thing. And they probably are just like, that's crazy. Fuck that. I mean, I know I worked in the newsroom for 8 years before I'm still in the newsroom, but I have a different job now. And I know that sometimes you have people that pop up again and again and again. And it's like, oh, there's Mary again. Like,
Yep.
And Mary may have some very valid points, but like Mary is such a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
That you like don't want to deal with her. And I think that that's probably what happened. But I just the fact that Karen Reed was screamed at and called a murderer after a public proceeding is also newsworthy.
In the courthouse.
Yeah,
it is
also
newsworthy. And I think that sometimes people who are even on Karen Reed's side don't like her as a human being. And I think oftentimes so that plays into it as well. They see her as like a cold, screamy, yelly, outspoken woman. And so that could color the way that they responded to that. But yeah, it's royally fucked up. And the press that was there, I'm sure they wanted to just like watch it happen and maybe report on it. But I don't know. The other problem is, like, we heard a couple of reports and we heard Kate Peter say it on her spaces, but we never heard anything else about it from other people.
We heard about it from Grant. Grant did post about it.
Well, and Grant also like followed Kate Peter and her, whoever the guy was, down the street and was like, yelling after her and asking questions. So Grant's pretty much the only one with the audacity, I think, to do it. But yeah,
maybe,
I mean,
maybe people didn't see it if it happened inside, like somebody said.
That's my point. My point is, like, I'm not sure
whatever.
who saw it. You know what I mean? Like, who was there to see it?
It's still disgusting. It's disgusting. She was acquitted. Leave her the fuck alone.
Yeah.
So
I have. Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, I see you have Guthrie on the list. Can I just say something briefly about the Nancy Guthrie case?
Right before we get into Guthrie, I just want to say one other thing. And this is because several weeks ago during one of our streams, I think we went on too long and we had to end it. And we never got to the Sean Goode news.
Let's talk about that.
This is old news, but we've had a couple of people in the comments being like, you guys were supposed to talk about Sean Goode and you never did. Are you ever going to talk about Sean Goode? So I just want to give a brief update on what happened with Sean. So as we know,
as
Sean
you
Goode,
search that other tab that makes you freeze.
Oh shit, I did it again, didn't I? Sorry.
Now we know. We know what causes it. It's you
so
can have
weird.
a separate window open with all your tabs over there.
And it's so new though. Yeah. Because I have been looking at my tabs the whole time that we stream.
Do you have a second monitor? Get a second monitor.
I don't, but I probably should.
Open up your internet over there. It just means that occasionally you'll have to look over, but that's small price to pay for not freezing.
We don't have a budget for that.
That's true. Although I paid up for all those stamps out of my fucking pocket with all my
I know you
tip
did.
money.
I know you did, which is why we appreciate the tips and all that stuff. So thank you all. Oh, I guess while we're here, if you want to tip us, there's a little QR code up there in the corner. And then also down here is you can do Cash App or Venmo. We really appreciate your tips. Obviously, I need a new monitor and possibly a new microphone, and Rebecca's paying for all these stamps and stickers. So we appreciate you. Anything you can do is so helpful to us.
We're not going to get
Also,
off the topic of Sean Goode. Everybody relax. And also when you become a member, you can put your name on the spreadsheet on our homepage and we will send you stickers. Everyone's panicking because they think
I
you
know.
mentioned Sean Goode again and you're not going to talk about it.
Okay, thanks everybody. That's it for today. We'll see you later.
Sean
Okay,
who?
okay.
Oh, it's
Sean,
like that Saturday Night Live skit where they're always going to have Lindsey Buckingham on a talk show, and he's the last guest, and they never have to. Oh, we have no time.
No time for Sean Goode. Okay, see you later, everybody. We'll be back on Thursday. Okay, Sean Goode was a target of document requests in the wrongful death suit.
And who's Sean Goode?
Sean Goode was a Canton police officer who, wait, is that true? Was he
Yes.
Canton or MSP? Yeah,
he's a Canton police officer. He's a first responder on the Karen Read scene.
Yes, he was involved in a lot of different things. He sort of had his hand everywhere. He was involved. He was talking to Lank when Lank was sitting in the car. He was in communication with all these people. Most notably, it has been alleged that he has had major communications with one disgraced former trooper, Michael Proctor, and that those communications are what led to Sean Goode's suspension
and
from the
internal
Canton Police
investigation
Department.
and suspension.
Yes.
Yeah.
So in early January of this year, 2026, the Norfolk Plymouth Superior Court case brought by the O'Keefe family. So this is the civil case that the O'Keefes are bringing against Karen. Held a hearing where Karen Read's attorneys had planned to ask the judge to compel Sean Goode, along with the DA's office and former state trooper Michael Proctor, to produce documents relating to this case, meaning I think they wanted to see the communications between Michael Proctor and Sean Goode. They wanted to see anything about the investigation that was taking place into Sean Goode. But along the way, basically in this time where they were trying to get the court to compel Sean Goode, they worked out some sort of a deal with, what am I trying to say? You know what I'm trying to say, right?
The DA's office.
The DA's office.
So they could get Proctor's phone dump, which Proctor is now filing to try to prevent because Karen's white and straight. And so therefore his racist and homophobic comments are not relevant to her case.
Mm-hmm.
But Goode also was subpoenaed and ignored his subpoenas, from what I understand.
He did.
Yeah.
He did it. He ignored his subpoenas.
Folks. Don't ignore your subpoenas.
And I'm sure he ignored his subpoenas because he knew that the DA was going to work something out with Karen Read's team and that this was going to kind of go away for him, which is what it feels like to me.
I don't think that's why he ignored his subpoenas. I think he ignored him because he's just a douche.
Okay, but he's going to get into a lot of trouble. So I guess these guys don't have any fear, so that doesn't really
they have no fear.
Matter. Yeah. So before the hearing could go forward to determine whether they could compel him, Read's lawyers reached an agreement with the DA's office and Proctor on the document issues. So the session was postponed. There is no judicial order for Goode to provide documents yet. It has not been ruled on. We don't know what's happening, but as far as I understand it, he still hasn't did he respond? He responded, right?
He's hired a lawyer. I believe he's hired a lawyer. Was the latest news I saw. Somebody filed that they are representing him. But also there's been requests to get transparency around his investigation. And because it's ongoing and Canton's calling it a personnel matter, that's not something we have more insight into either. But it's pretty clear that this was triggered by the release of Proctor texts to the Canton PD, because I believe they received them as well. And I'm pretty sure that Proctor, that Sean Goode was part of his little clan of evildoers who'd like to text nasty things to each other, including nude photos of third parties who did not give their consent for their nude photos to be shared. Something like that.
I swear to Christ, if we find out that Anna Walsh is in those photos, I'm going to be so mad. I mean, I'm going to be mad for anybody that's in those photos, but... Okay. All right. That's really all I had to say about Sean Goode. Do you have anything you want to add to that?
About Goode?
It really wasn't that big of a deal, but everybody wanted to hear about it. Yeah.
I hate that guy.
Okay, great. Let's move on
He's
to
not
Nancy
my favorite,
Guthrie.
put it that way. He's not my
Yeah.
favorite. Was it Gallagher with the thingy? The snowblower?
Gallagher with the leaf blower,
Not my favorite.
Lenk, who
Not
had
my
his hands
favorite.
in everything.
Not
Like
my
Lenk,
favorite.
I think Lenk is we've got to like get to the bottom of what Lenk was doing.
Berkey. I
And
know he's dead, but
Berkowitz.
I can retroactively not like him.
Yeah.
So Nancy Guthrie.
This is a case I don't want to talk about, but go
No, I don't
ahead.
want to talk about it either. I just want to tell you something interesting.
Okay.
Court TV has asked me 4 times to come on Vinnie Politan's show and talk about the Nancy Guthrie case, and all 4 times I
You've
have
said
said
no.
no.
Can
And
you tell the audience why you are saying no to going on Court
I'd
TV right
rather
now?
not tell them why I'm not
Oh,
saying
Jesus
no.
Christ.
I
Fine.
have not told Court TV transparently why
Okay.
I'm really saying no. I have had, lucky for me, I've had conflicts 2 of the 4 times, and one time I just didn't want to do it, and so I said I was busy. And then
Mhm.
they asked me today to come on tonight, and I was like, I don't know if I'm going to have internet or power. It's a blizzard here, so can't commit to that. But yeah,
Yeah,
I'll just say Vinnie Politan said some things on social media after the shootings in Minneapolis that really bothered me. And it would be
yeah.
difficult for me, not that I can't talk to someone I disagree with. I talk to people I disagree with all the time.
Yes.
But it is difficult for me to have that show is very much a one-way conversation where I just get asked a question and have to respond to that question. I never see Vinny off air. I've never talked to him off air except when I met him in at the trial. We talked
Mhm.
for a while about different things, but I am not comfortable talking with him about other stuff if I haven't at least really been able to interact with him about this other thing. And not that I don't even know it's that. I don't even know if it's that. I was personally disappointed that somebody
Yeah.
that I had a good working relationship with said some really irresponsible stuff about an
Mhm.
active investigation into 2 shootings. And I always thought he was for court TV especially probably like the most earnest journalist there. I mean, my interactions with him previous have always been that he's skeptical, that he
Yeah.
doesn't immediately jump to guilt, that he asks curious questions that are really curious, that he pushes back
Yeah.
on the right things. And just to sort of see him talk about shootings being justified before literally anybody knew anything that happened, I found that very disappointing.
Yeah, I find it disappointing whenever I hear someone defending, Alex Preddy being murdered because 2 weeks prior to his murder, he had kicked a taillight actually on an ice car. And I've been hearing this justification for his death, it's because he kicked a tire.
Well, that means it's
And
a revenge shooting, not a
and I'm like, "You guys realize that that's not like self-defense or because he did, anything like he may have done something that might have been illegal, but there
Yeah,
was no investigation or court case or anything like that. So if you're remembering him from 2 weeks ago doing this and now you just want him dead, that's murder.
yeah,
And I can't understand how anybody could justify that by
yeah.
saying, "Well, he was violent. He kicked someone's car."
But also,
Fuck
this was
off.
before anyone knew anything about it. This was before that. And my issue is I have no poker face.
Yeah, neither do I.
So Bettero did the same thing.
Yep.
I have no poker face, and I wanna be good on TV. And
Why?
I because I'm vain and I want people to like me and think I'm
You are
smart.
good on TV. You
But
are smart.
I worry that this is still really fresh for me and really, like, I'm thinking about it a lot. Maybe in 6 months, I told you this, maybe I'll feel differently in the future and I'll be able to put my poker face back on and just be like, "Hey,
Mhm.
Vinny, what's up?"
Hey,
But
Vinny.
that would be hard for me to put that very open, like, completely, like, "I love you, Vinny" face on right now because I
Yeah.
really have some I really I'm disappointed in him,
Yeah,
like
I understand.
an angry aunt. So anyway.
I understand. I just wanted
Okay,
to
we've
talk
had a
about
couple
it
people
because
say that in defense of the witnesses that the Kate Peter harassment was inside the courthouse and the court
right,
security should handle it. Agreed. Okay, where I
agreed.
was wrong,
Yep.
agreed.
So as far as the Guthrie case goes, I feel for Savannah Guthrie's family. I feel for her mother, who I'm afraid is probably not alive anymore, especially if she needs her medicine. Um, I am
It doesn't need more
overwhelmingly
coverage. Yeah, it doesn't need more
I am
coverage.
overwhelmingly annoyed by the coverage of it because it is constant all day, every day on mainstream media. If you go listen or watch independent media, like, through YouTube. So I watch a lot of Midas Touch. I watch The Bulwark. I watch Project Lincoln Files. Some of those are like more, like I've Don Lemon, whoever. I watch a bunch of different independent media from YouTube, basically. Maybe 1% of the time they're talking about the Nancy Guthrie case. I feel like every mainstream media show, especially the morning shows, they start with a whole segment and there's nothing happening in the case.
No, there's been no news.
The idea that they keep pushing it, and they're not doing the same thing for women of color, and they're not doing the same thing for other people who don't have the kind of status that Savannah Guthrie has. Like, if you're going to spend this much time talking about a woman who is missing, and I feel horrible for her family and for her, and it's awful, like, you should be, I don't know, you should be also talking about the missing and endangered Indigenous women. You should be talking about the children who are being snatched off the street and thrown into sex trafficking rings. You should be talking, it's like, why? Okay, we're going to focus this much on one missing person, this white woman in New Mexico. We should be doing the same for all these missing children of color who are being put into like the new Epstein sex trafficking rings. Like, who's the new Epstein?
It's Arizona, by the way.
Oh, wait, you know why I said New Mexico? Thank you for saying Arizona. I said New Mexico because New Mexico, this is a transition. New Mexico the Attorney General of New Mexico has just opened a criminal investigation into Zorro Ranch, which is Jeffrey Epstein's ranch, which is where many of the people in the files say the bodies are buried. And that, when I say bodies, I mean infants, babies, children, and other people may be buried on that ranch. And so I love that a bipartisan commission came together in the New Mexico legislature who opened basically this, like, I don't know what to call it, but they wanted to start looking into Zorro Ranch. It was like, it's called like a truth commission or something like that. And then the AG got on board too and said, hey, we're going to reopen a criminal investigation into this place and we're going to start looking for dead bodies. And I think that is amazing.
Yes.
You have thoughts?
I also think it's great that the former ambassador to England was arrested along for the same thing that Prince Andrew was arrested for, giving away stuff while he was in office. Anyway, we're definitely following that story. The Corri Hopkins trial. I've seen a lot of talk about this. I don't know a lot about it
too.
I don't either. We need to look into it, and then because we don't want to talk about something we don't know at least a little bit about.
I've seen enough that I would be very interested in covering the trial, so we can talk about it offline and figure that out.
Sure.
What else did we have? Hold on, I'm not going to click on a tab.
For the record, by the way, I told you this. I think Nancy Guthrie was taken in a crime of opportunity. I think it was a robbery gone wrong. That's my opinion. Moving on.
Yeah, I mean, who cares at this point?
I don't
think
care.
That's my. I don't care.
It's not. I don't care about the coverage. Has made us not care. Like, that's the thing.
Yeah.
It's like
yeah. It's like, it's just saturated, and I'm like, okay, I at this point, they've asked
Mendelsohn
for
got
ransom.
arrested.
Mendelsohn got arrested. They've asked for ransom. The ransom, maybe it was real, maybe it wasn't. They're sending their notes to TMZ of all places. I mean, this is ludicrous. Like, at this point, it's a missing person case. They need to find Nancy Guthrie, whether she is alive or dead. But that should be like any other missing person case that is happening in this country. So that's me.
Okay, so Qbert says, did anybody record the yelling at court? No, but Kate Peter said she did it on her own stream. So you don't need proof. When a lot of people who saw it say it happened, and then she says, I did this.
She says exactly what she said to Karen Reed too. And so you can go look at that. Yeah, she tweeted it. It's all over the place. Yeah, I'm just like, what are we doing here, you guys? I appreciate the drama of the courtroom. I don't appreciate the drama on the outside. It's like, sometimes it just gets so old to me. Like, the way that those two trials played out for Karen Reed, it was definitely drama. It reminded me of O.J. Simpson's trial and of Pam Smart's trial. We sit down and we watch and we get invested in the people and the drama like it's a reality show. And, at the end of the day, a man lost his life and a woman almost went to prison for life for murdering him, which she didn't do. And if we can get rid of all of the Meredith shit and all the side drama of all these people, it's like I still want to focus on the fact, like one of the things I'm really interested in is that no one knows who killed John O'Keefe, and I'd
That
like to
should be
figure that
the
out.
that's the only thing that I'm actually interested in
That
terms of this case.
exactly.
Everything else is side goss. And
Yep.
I am the first person to admit,
I had to put my chin up here. So.
yeah, I can get sucked in by side goss super easily. I am a
Yeah.
judgy person who wants to hear the tea, even if it has nothing to do with me. So that's my foible. I mean, we all have our vices, right? I don't smoke. I don't drink to excess, but I do love the gossip.
I don't drink. I just want to say this for the people who are listening and not watching. Tina just posted in the chat that Margaret Hanley, 72, a Navy veteran and beloved grandmother, has been missing since Monday, February 8th.
Sanyomo Thompson.
Sanyomo Thompson says his mother has some short-term memory loss, RAV4, with a license plate of E as in Edward, S as in Sam, M as in Mary, F as in Frank, 23. So keep an eye out.
Hubert says they live in Canton. I have
Canton,
questions
Hubert.
for you, Hubert. So many questions.
I just want to read this comment. Hold on. Yeah, we all want that, Hubert. We all want the truth to come out about John. I would really like to know who killed John O'Keefe, and I would like them to pay for their crimes. So
Same.
Rebecca,
Yes.
do you have anything else you want to add?
Gosh.
Did we get through everything?
Let me think, Mel.
Wait, while Rebecca's
we
thinking.
talked about the lesbian fight. We talked about the Mahjong scandal.
Right.
We talked about the wild accusations of hacking taking place in Karen Reed adjacent gossip land. We talked about some disclosure stuff, which kind of like, it's not that disclosure is trickling out. It's that what it actually fucking means is trickling out. It's very hard for me to look at. Like the Trooper Paul report that was posted today that I posted in the link that basically says the Bosch system in the car recognized no collisions. Of course, that's why there was no collision report. Apparently,
we didn't talk about that. Wait. Let's go back a little bit. Let's talk about the Trooper Paul report. Let's talk about Tommy Paul for a minute.
Well, this is the thing. It's like, I know that there's a report. I've looked at the report, but I'm also not a person who would know exactly what this means. So I'm sort of like waiting for some credible person to explain this. So basically, there is this report that was, I guess, part of the disclosure from Bosch with the VIN number of the car, et cetera, et cetera. And this is the manufacturer of a system inside the car that would be able to, speak to ignition cycles and et cetera. And so it was pulled 2/21/2022, Canton PD. That's who pulled it. Or I don't know if it was pulled by Canton PD. 2021, and that must be where it was. 2021 Lexus, et cetera, et cetera. Damage to right rear, no airbags deployed, no sign of operator usage or non-use of the seatbelts, OEM tire modification of vehicle, and this says, this is so small. It basically says there was no evidence of a crash from this Bosch system. So this was part of, I guess, it was an exhibit, and I guess it was part of some Trooper Paul thing. But like, I don't think that's revelatory because we know there was no evidence of a collision. I also, to this day, believe that the key cycle that they were talking about is the wrong one. Credible people say that is the right one, but I believe it's the wrong one because I do not believe they took into account the driving Karen Reed may have done around Canton before she went to Jen McCabe's house. So,
also, I think we've talked also about when they were saying that, the 24 miles an hour backwards, more than likely what came from the tow truck. Like
it could have come from skid. It could have come from wheels spinning in a skid, either from the tow truck or another time. So yeah, I mean, there's just the interpretation of that data is wild, but the key cycle thing has always bothered me, always.
Yeah.
So, I'd love to talk to somebody who has like the kind of knowledge of it that could explain to me why I'm wrong, that the key cycle could be the wrong one. But when they talked about the methodology they used, which was to look at the mileage on her car and then go backwards from all the trips they knew she took to Jen McCabe's house, back to John's house, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. They do not account for her driving around Canton. They just don't account for that thing that they also say could have happened, right? Her Lexus being picked up on these things. And I just, also we know from the disclosure that she went the wrong way to the 34 Fairview because you see Jen McCabe taking a turn that she misses and she goes straight. So there's so it's not like a direct from Waterfall to here. Like the mileages aren't right. They're not with they're using like MapQuest to figure out what the mileages should be.
Yeah.
But if you don't know anywhere around town, they're not accurate. So anyway,
Right.
I have issues with the key cycle data. And if someone is able to come on and cogently explain to me exactly why they got that exactly right, I would love to know, because I would be happy to reverse my way from this cul-de-sac and let go of this idea that I have. So,
well, Kayla says that Ozzy is knowledgeable about the data. I don't
know
know
who
Ozzy.
that is.
Yeah.
Kayla, you'll have to email us at in between. What is the email address? Something's off podcast.
Something's off pod at gmail.com.
Yes.
And while you're here, while we're wrapping this up, if you guys wouldn't mind going and liking this video, please.
Like and subscribe.
Comment, like and subscribe,
Share.
share the video. We're trying to get that algorithm moving. We're doing a great job because we just passed 4,000 subscribers.
Hell yeah.
We're on our way to 5,000. Rebecca, do you want to tell the audience about anything you have coming up this week for Crime Writers On, or your Netflix show, or anything like that?
Well, the Crime Writers On, we are going to be reviewing Murder in Glitterball City, a documentary that I super like that Mel is met on. She's halfway through the first episode. It's two-part documentary. It's really weird. It's produced unlike anything I've ever seen before, and I super liked it. I also, by the way, I think we're going to in the future be talking about that HBO show Neighbors, which is fucking wild. If you tune in to Crime Writers On this week, the episode that came out today, look at me looking at my own podcast app. We talk about the investigation of Lucy Letby. That's the episode that came out today. This is when Crime Writers On. We talked about the documentary Secret Mall Apartment last week. Wild. We also talked about Kidnapped Elizabeth Smart. And I also interviewed the director of that on the Netflix show I host, You Can't Make This Up. And if you want to hear my 2 interviews about the America's Next Top Model documentary.
Yes.
Check out You Can't Make This Up from Netflix. No, Tyra Banks was not involved in the making of the documentary. And the reason why some of your favorite contestants were not in it was because they declined to participate. So stop adding me for not grilling Jay and Nigel on why so-and-so wasn't in it. It's because they said no. The documentarians told me that. And my interview with them is coming out either this week or next. So anyway, check it out.
I just started America's Next Top Model, the documentary for that, and it's actually quite good so far. And I definitely watched that show when it
Tyra
first came
does
out.
herself no fucking favors.
Ooh, she never does, that woman. I don't know what
it
she
gets
is
worse
thinking
and
when
worse
she sits in front of a camera.
Oh, yeah,
it's so bad.
So bad.
So anyway, I think it's fascinating. I also covered the Lucy Letby case on the In Between podcast, which is my regular weekly investigative true crimey podcast that I put out on Tuesdays. I covered Lucy Letby the week before last, and I covered the Foss trial and the Foss case this last time.
Cool.
I have been researching for a couple of years now and hoping to put out another long form investigative series like I did for Pam Smart and like I did for the Veronica Rodriguez case. Veronica Rodriguez, if you are not familiar, was the woman who accused a superior of sexual assault in Pennsylvania, recorded her attack, and then was charged instead of him for wiretap, and actually got convicted and now has a felony because she recorded her own sexual assault. Her case is under appeal. It just came out this week. Penn Live just put out a great article about it. So if you're interested, go read that. They do great reporting. They're wonderful people. They get a lot of shit back from the district attorney's office there because she doesn't like it when they call her out on the lack of investigation into sex trafficking and sexual assaults in her county. So they try to cover those cases. Do not feel bad for Pierre Hescraft. I don't feel bad for her. So I'm hoping to pick up where I left off with Veronica Rodriguez's case, and I'm moving into another case that I've been investigating for a bit about a sexual predator a convicted sexual predator who I'm starting to think maybe didn't do it, which is not a normal take for me. But I'm about 4 episodes in on the scripts of that. I'm hoping to release it soon. I don't know what's happening with it. And Rebecca wants to talk about stickers.
No, I just want to remind folks before we wrap up that if you become a member of this podcast and you put your name and address on a Google form that is linked to our podcast homepage on YouTube,
I'll follow it. I'll allow it.
Then I will send you these 4 stickers.
You're hot.
You're hot. I'll allow it.
I'll allow it.
I love straight bears. And finally,
Dream and never cease eternity.
Mel's dance group from when she was a child.
Dance,
And I am working on concepts for future stickers. So become a member of this channel already, for goodness sakes.
Absolutely. And go like the video, go like the video, go like the video. And please tune in on Wednesday nights at 7 p.m. on News Light with Mel Barrett for my politics show. And Rebecca, where can people find you online?
I am everywhere, including still on Twitter, if you can fucking believe it.
And
At
I
Reb
rejoined
Lavoy.
Twitter.
I know you did. I'm at Reb Lavoy. I'm also on Blue Sky at Reb Lavoy. You can also join our Facebook group, and you can also join the Crime Writers Facebook group, which is also very good, by the way.
Also, if there's a case that you want us to cover that's interesting to you, please email something's off.
Something has to be off, though. Something has to be off.
Something has to be off with it. So something's off pod at Gmail. Let us know what cases you want us to cover, or you can go into our community tabs on YouTube and put a post out there and let us know. But yeah, we really want to hear from you, because oftentimes we talk a lot about Karen Reed stuff because there's still so much going on, but I want to cover new cases too. So yes, all of my podcasts are posted. All of Rebecca's podcasts are posted. You can listen to the audio version of Something's Off, the audio version of Newslight with Mel Barrett, and the audio version of the In Between podcast anywhere you get your podcast, but they're all under the umbrella of the In Between right now. Rebecca, where can people listen to your audio?
Crime Writers on, and you can't make this up for now, are audio only. You can find them on any of your podcast apps. We also have a podcast called These Are Their Stories, which is about law and order, SVU, and criminal intent, and the real life cases behind the shows.
Ooh, look at you. Okay, I think that's all I have for today.
Oh, someone says the Bosch thing is a shady fact. Sorry. I literally said I didn't know what this meant, Lisa Lou. I literally said that. I don't know what this means.
Stop being so shady, Rebecca.
Stop being so shady. Clearly, I'm a shill for Karen Reed, just trying to get disinformation out there. That's my brand.
Yeah. Yep. That's our brand. Okay. We love you all. Thank you guys so much for being here. Thanks for the tips. Thanks for the memberships. Thanks for getting us along to 4,000. And we will see you on Thursday. I appreciate you, Rebecca.
I appreciate you too, Mel.
Bye.
Bye. Chapstick lesbian.